I'm saying for you to point that very specific example out, that's like a silly one because I've lived in Europe. You know, I've lived in Europe and
Okay,
I've been
K.
there.
Okay, so K.
Right.
What's your fucking point?
I mean, I guess my overarching point is like when I come across lives and I see this like, hey, lefties, we lied. Project 2025 is coming. And I know it's all like satirical in a sense, and I get that. But I think the problem, and then I'm not even saying just hey lefties. You know, I see the lives that say, you know,
You're
hey,
talking
right,
about
how do you
division.
feel
Just say
about
you're seeing more division. That's all you got to say, and that
the
you think it's
division
coming
has
from the right.
the
Okay,
divi-
so do you know what I call DEI?
you see again,
Divide
that's what I mean.
everyone intentionally.
We're still that's and this is my point. We're still talking about the wrong things. Like I'm not talking about no DI. I'm not talking about any of this
Hold on,
shit.
No,
K.
you're
I'm
talking
K.
about
about
K. K.
rising
K. K.
up and causing a revolution or some shit, man. I
Right,
don't
it's
know
not
K.
what you're
about
That's
a
talking about.
it's not about a revolution,
Hey
man.
K.
It's like
That's pretty cute. I like it. It's cute. More energy tonight, Jeb. Okay, but listen, little Marco. You guys spent the last fucking 10 years
this isn't a see you're
ripping
that's where
this
you that's
country.
where
Hold on, little Marco. I'm
you're
talking.
failing, man,
You
because
spent the last little Marco, please. I'm
I have
talking.
no political allegiance to the
Okay,
left or the
listen,
right,
little
man.
Marco. You clearly do.
So for
You
you to
clearly
sit here,
do.
you again, you and I can
You're
understand the
talking over me.
frustration.
I'm
Go
speaking. I
ahead, man.
wasn't
Go
talking
ahead.
over you. I was
I'll
muted
I'll
when you
give
were
you the
talking.
respect, man. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't talking when you were talking, little Marco. Now listen, clearly you guys spent on the left the last 10 years dividing this nation. You spent the whole election cycle this year talking about Project 2025, which was a non-existent thing in the realm of John Trump. That's what you did. That's what you did. So what we're doing here is we're trolling you. And we've got you clearly triggered, Kay, which you showed by your triggerdom that you are on one side or the other.
All
You were
right, so
triggered by the picture that we're divisive now. That's cute.
all right, so it's not even your. I mean, if somebody mentioned when I said one of my comments like, "Oh, I bet you're not saying that in other lives and stuff like that." Like, I do, man. When I see lives that are divisive, that are the sole intention of them is to divide. Again, I have no political allegiance, man. Left or right, it doesn't matter. What I always hope is that regardless of who the president is, right, that they do the job of a president and they take care of
Who'd
the
you vote
people of
for?
this country. I didn't vote. I didn't vote, unfortunately.
Oh, wow. Jesus fucking Christ. Why are you even here?
So, I
Well, he's
mean,
a future voter, right?
for
You're
you
going to
to,
vote in the future
I mean,
there, Kay?
I've voted in the past and I will vote in the future. There was a circumstance. So again, to instantly assume that just because I voted was for like any other reason than the reason that I didn't vote is like it's a
What the
very
fuck?
naive point for you to even make,
Yeah, but
What
right?
you
Kay,
You have
Kay,
just
no
Kay,
said
hold on.
literally made no sense. Can you repeat that? To say that I
no
didn't vote because I did vote because I wanted to vote, but I
no
didn't
no
vote.
no no no.
What the fuck did you just say?
I'll make it super simple. Unfortunately, during the election time, I was not in my state that I was registered in. And at that time, I did not have enough time to be able to fill out the form for an absentee ballot. So I
It's
couldn't
all right,
vote.
it happens.
Okay.
I ain't mad
It
at him. I
happens.
ain't mad at
Right.
him.
Right.
Who
So,
would you have voted for if you could have voted?
so I mean, if to be honest, I would have went with what I would have considered the lesser of my evils as far because both candidates I think were completely terrible. Uh, I mean, we've already had a Trump presidency, and we see what took place there. We
What took
had,
place there?
Yeah, I was going to say what took place.
I mean, for I think people often forget like how yes, and COVID did play a point in that, but like during that time frame was like terrible. It was
What?
terrible. Not only, and I mean, I have very
Give
specific
an example, Kay. Don't go on a
so
monologue. Just make an example,
Before
allow a
we
response, and then
before
come
we
back with another.
fair enough. So my
before
biggest
but well
one of my bigger gripes.
before we pivot to that topic, can I just address something that I picked up on when you first started talking when you joined?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I thought it was interesting, right? So you said you have no political affiliation, all right?
Correct.
Cool. I love that. Me too. I'm an independent thinker, right? I don't give a fuck about the two-party system. I
Right.
vote according to my own self-interest.
Okay, fair enough.
So it was interesting that you brought up the Boston Tea Party in how this country basically got its start, right? the
Right.
frustrations of taxation without representation and an
Right.
overbearing monarchy, right?
You got it.
So again, the reason why I'm kind of perplexed about this situation that you're bringing up is you talk about divisiveness when in actuality, me as a truly independent thinker who has no party affiliation, when I talk about, right, the same things that caused them to topple tea barrels over into the Boston Harbor or in basically opposition to the regime, right? When I talk about decreasing the taxes on the American populace, and I say that at the behest of decreasing spending from an overinflated federal government that wastes taxpayer funding on stupid initiatives, right? Because again, I don't have political affiliation, so I don't give a shit about either side. Stupid initiatives are stupid initiatives that are wasteful. When I say that kind of rhetoric over the last 2 years, the very first reaction that I receive is typical MAGA. Can you tell me why I would be met with that type of a reaction?
To be honest with you, I can't. And the reason why, I think it's because we kind of align ourselves pretty well in the same regards, right? I do
I
truly feel
agree.
that.
I said it when you first typed that. I said
Right.
I agree. It is a rich versus poor scenario. 100%. It's classism.
So yes,
It
does the
is.
government spend stupid? Absolutely. I mean, again, I have a family member that works in the military, and I mean, just from his small little niche area in the government that he has, it's like the amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that takes place. And that's the training that anybody that's been in the military, anybody that's had a military family, anybody that's ever been associated with the government in some form or fashion, they've
So
had
you
fraud.
appreciate Doge, is what you're saying.
Say that again.
So you appreciate Doge, is what you're saying, right?
Is that who was talking?
No, yeah, no, approach. I was asking
Oh,
you
Doge.
because you were saying
Well,
about waste, fraud, and abuse,
my
how that's
problem
so
with
important. I was
right
saying
it is,
you must appreciate Doge, the
but on the
Department of
contrary, the
Treasury.
the problem the problem with Doge is that you literally have some of you not only the richest person to exist in this world, right? But you also have another very very rich. I believe he has a net worth of in the
All right, so you have a
billions.
couple rich people helping us make government
I don't think
smaller.
it's. I
Okay,
honestly
go
don't
ahead.
think it's. I don't think it's helping only because when you look at what they're talking about, the cuts where they want to make these cuts can never even take place to even begin with.
Like which
Um,
cuts?
just I mean all I mean we can
Like
even
which cuts
the
specifically? I
simplest
mean,
one would be the social security stuff that they were trying to talk about cutting, right? So you do that and you fundamentally.
Who told you that?
Well, I mean, this is not anybody that told me. This is kind of common knowledge. This is kind of like
No, common
uh,
knowledge. Who made it common knowledge?
you could research. I mean, I could go to NRP. I can go to those are typically, I typically Associated Press. You can go to all these what I would
So,
consider
so
more.
you're gonna go to the mainstream media for your common knowledge, right?
Well, I
Do you
mean,
see? Do you see where the problem exists now?
well, I mean, if we even want to get into it, like obviously the mainstream media is already lined in the pockets of the people of the haves, right? If we're going to separate people from haves and have nots, the everything is controlled by the haves. I mean, from
No,
our
no,
food
no, no, no,
to
no, no,
what
no,
we
no. Wait a
do
minute. Wait a
to
minute.
how we shop.
There's a lot. Listen, the mainstream media is not in the pockets of just the haves. It's a certain set of haves. You have to understand.
Oh yeah,
It's
the
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 it's
the
the it's the political
absolutely.
establishment.
Well, I mean, again, me personally, I would trust something like Associated Press. I would trust something like NPR versus me ever trusting anything from like CNN or Fox or NBC News or those kind of things. I would actually rather go get a Sky One box and watch
Right. Okay, good.
international news.
Perfect. That's
But
cute.
I don't see the Associated
Can you cite
Press.
for me one source where Elon Musk has ever talked about cutting Social Security
Yeah, because I
as
just
a
went to the
part?
social. Yeah, I just went to Associated Press. I couldn't find that story anywhere.
You're not
He's
So the
sure.
story
googling.
that they're actually referring to was actually a breakdown from CNN Finance. that actually broke down their financial policy would affect Social Security, and it would actually cause a shortage, as well as the cuts to the income tax and other things. It lists like so many different things on the cuts actually affecting things overall. It's where the mention of the veteran benefits also came from.
But
And
what
these are
they
from these quote top economists. They're quoting again, by the way, which are not named or their economic theory ever mentioned. So we have no idea who
The
these experts are.
Well, the part they're getting, right, is that there has been talk about quote unquote cutting Social Security, but it's not cutting
absolutely.
Social Security in the sense of cutting. What it is it's trying to decrease the wasteful spending as a result of Social Security fraud and
Yeah.
cracking down on things of that nature that result in wasteful spending. It's not about removing any type of benefits from those who are actually legitimately on Social Security
Yeah.
benefits. Has
Mhm.
nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the wasteful spending as a result of people defrauding the government through the Social Security
Yeah, June.
benefits.
June, did you hear about how many
Exactly.
people that were they were around the age of 112 collecting Social Security?
Yeah, bro. Like, what
Just
the
sitting down
fuck?
the road.
Well, then let's think about it like this. All right, so I actually was able to find. I mean, I think I mentioned Associated Press because that would be one of the that would be if I was going to fact check something along with other avenues of
I
resource,
went to
I would go
Associated
to
Press. I
APR.
couldn't
But I
find
would
that
also
story.
go ahead.
I went to Associated Press just now and I couldn't find
Yeah,
that
right.
story.
But what I was going to tell you is it may I literally while you were while when you once you said that I was like, well, let me check my other area. If you go on NPR or you look up NPR, they have an article that they have published that does mention specifically that they are
Do me a
trying
favor,
to see
Kay.
what they can do as
Do
far as
me a favor, Kay. Read that
yeah.
article to its entirety.
Well, the only problem with it is that I only have my cell phone as a way to get on the internet
Well,
right
you don't
now.
have to
So
do it now. You can do it later. That's fine. Just when you hang up from here, you probably won't spend the time to be like, "Yo, Approach told me I should read this article to its entirety," and so you're not going to do it. But if you
well,
didn't,
maybe one of you all can because again, I'm limited to just having my phone as my
no,
internet access.
I
But
mean,
I
if
can
I
tell you,
asked you to do it later on your own time, if I asked you to read it later, you might say yes, but then you probably, chances are, 97%, maybe more, you're not going to read it.
and what makes you say that? What gives you so much of a certainty
Because
that I wouldn't?
I've only met like two people in the last year on here that actually took the time to do something like this for me when I asked. So that's why I say it.
Maybe I'm the third. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't think we've ever had any
All
interactions
right,
before.
cool,
You know what I
cool.
mean?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
So
that
cool with that.
well that would
Yeah.
be that would be great. That would be great. But you already have said that you're the type of person or a person who gets their common knowledge from media sources.
so then let me ask you this: where
Do you know
where
where I get my common knowledge from?
where that I was just about to.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it from the actual policy prescriptions that people put forward as members of Congress.
Okay, so have
The
they have
actual laws, wait a minute. The actual legal language of the laws that are put on the floor of the House of Representatives, for example. I love how the left continues to use this boogeyman argument that those on the right want to cut Social Security.
Mhm.
Yet what they've always seeked to do was to strengthen Social Security. Now there is an argument within conservative politics about potentially privatizing Social Security. That's different.
Yeah.
That means the money that you pay in would go into an indexed fund like the S&P 500 overall or a Vanguard fund. And the reality is that if you worked your whole life and paid the same amount into Social Security, you'd be far better off if you had put your money in the stock market and invested it in American companies than you would if you had invested it in the federal government. So there's an argument to be made there. Should you own that money or should the government own that money? Because what happens if you work your whole life and you get right up to Social Security age and then you poop unalive? What happens to all that Social Security money that you paid in? You don't have it. You don't leave it to your children. You don't. Nobody gets it. The government gets it. So you worked your whole life basically for nothing. That's the argument for privatization. I'm not advocating for that necessarily. What I'm saying is that's the argument they're in. What Goon touched on is the real truth about this whole entire situation. It's waste, fraud, and abuse in these government systems. Social Security being paramount among them. So your common knowledge is not really, it's not knowledge at all. It's
So
what you perceive. Hold on, it's what you perceive as knowledge because it's what you're told to know.
who told me to know that?
AP, you named him. AP,
AP told me
NPR.
that. NPR,
Hold on, wait a
C-SPAN.
minute. What's the
So
other
the
ones?
same.
Rachel
The,
Maddow and Joy Need on MSDNC. They're all telling you every day what to think.
the same way that you, well, I'm going to only assume that maybe you either through YouTube or maybe C-SPAN, that you
No,
watch the House floor
no.
meetings,
.gov.
you watch those all right, well, .gov, same thing. I mean,
And
I can
C-SPAN is just,
Well,
listen,
C-SPAN.
C-SPAN has no reporting.
they
C-SPAN
don't,
is
you're right.
literally cameras set up
Right, for the votes,
recording the
right?
House floor or
Right.
the Senate
So
And then you
chambers.
can also read
so
transcripts from actual,
Exactly.
congressional,
Yep. Hearings,
situations.
subcommittee meetings,
fair
all of
enough.
that.
But so if we're
Yeah.
specifically talking about the Doge department, there's obviously no policy towards that yet, right? So for you to say that your information about Doge versus my
No,
information about
It's
Doge,
coming
all
from what
Doge
they're
should
saying
do
themselves.
make a recommendation. It's really going to be up to Congress to cut
correct.
what they want to.
Because
But
we know that
but
Elon and we know that Vivek, they don't, I mean, there's no real
Can we
authority that
stop arguing about this? This is so tired. I've had this in the box for at least 5 minutes now. Even
yeah, I was
Snopes or
going to say,
Snoops,
go ahead, infamous.
or however you say it, even they admit that Elon Musk didn't say he wants to cut Social Security benefits. Nobody's going to cut Social Security. Quite frankly, I think it should be gotten rid of for all of the things that the person in the box, it looks like Adrian, was saying, because they just steal the money. It is a piggy bank for the government with no accountability. And even if you do live long enough to get your Social Security benefits, they only give you a fraction of what you paid into it. And they can disqualify you for any reason that they feel like, oh, we decided that you didn't pay in enough of your money, so we're just going to keep everything that you paid in and you're not going to get any of it. Oh, you passed away? Well, guess what? Your family doesn't get anything. We're just going to keep it. They do all of these things. It's very corrupt. There needs to be some type of accountability. And quite frankly, I would rather get a refund of every single penny that I've put in and be accountable for my own retirement and funding my own plans, because I can control my money a lot better than the government can. And I would actually make way more, right? We would all be far better off. Social Security is an absolute scam, as is Medicare. And I don't understand why people sit here and advocate for what they know not.
I also want to point out we also had somebody who is constantly wrong, who goes by the username Dr. Snuffle J.
I was just about to fucking pull some shit up too. It's fucking laughable at this point, bro.
Yeah, NPR fact check. Our ruling, Scott's original plan did not call for the ending of either program directly, but left the option available if Congress chose not to renew them every 5 years. I mean, I have no idea why we can even, why do we even acknowledge Snuffles at this point? Like, he's literally wrong about fucking everything.
Well, here's the funny thing, right? I believe that all federal legislation should sunset in 5 years, with specific exceptions for Social Security, Medicare, national security, veterans benefits, and other essential services. Scott wrote in an op-ed published online on Friday by the conservative Washington Examiner newspaper. If a law is worth keeping, Congress can pass it again, he said. Also, they go on to say, following this, Donald Trump even said, be careful, Rick, and most importantly, fight for Social Security and Medicare. In all caps, there will be no cuts. Give me a fucking break, bro.
All right, so if we're gonna go, so I think the last person that we can go off the value of their word would be Donald Trump, right?
Why is that?
Who told you that?
It's super simple.
Who told you to
right?
think
Where'd you
that?
get that information? Did you get that from NPR?
Nope. It's just literally
told-
I got it from the horse's mouth. So
Who told you to think that, Kay?
Trump said that to you? He said,
Well,
don't
I'm-
trust me?
I am a very independent thinker. But who
I don't
told
think
me
you are at all.
who thought me or who told
Yeah,
me
you
to
sound kind
think
of
Yeah,
that
who
sheepish.
told? Who
would be
programmed you to
again
think that way,
a
Kenny?
super simple one. You had this guy, his one of his other than the border, right? This border scare, other than the border issue, right? I think the second biggest thing as far as this talking platform for this particular presidency cycle was the fact that inflation's too high and we got to get these grocery prices down, and I'm the only one that can do that. And then you literally, before this man even stepped foot in office, after getting elected, sits down, has his interview, and says, "Oh no, I can't
Yeah,
do
I
that."
love that this is the
Once they're
left's
up,
biggest
once
talking
they're
point they could have
once their price,
ever grabbed onto these days. You're
well, it's
trust me, you're one of
it's
like every single person on the left is trying to say this as if you
but you have
even
to
know
appreciate the
how.
hypocrisy
Hold
of
on, as if you even know what causes inflation to begin with.
I know what causes inflation. The problem is I
What
don't
Go
causes
think
it?
ahead.
that
What
the
causes
president that's
inflation?
come. I don't
Go
think.
ahead. Wait. Educate us.
Well, no, it's not
What causes
educating. It's just
inflation?
that I mean, you
No,
when
no,
you
no, 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 no. Before you go on with your point, just at least go over this one small point with us. What causes inflation?
Because I don't know what causes it.
well, it's not just one particular country that causes inflation. I mean, inflation is a
Hey,
global
King,
thing,
I'm
right?
asking you, what is the number one cause of inflation? That's all you have to do is tell us the economic reason inflation happens.
So if
Just,
I'm
I
going to
just
make
want
it
you to
super simple,
tell.
we're printing off more money and we're devaluing our money, and I think that contributes the most to
All
inflation,
right.
right?
Just making sure
So,
you even knew what
like,
that
I'm
meant.
not again,
Okay.
I
Here,
might
I'll
not
give you
be
a
the
couple
common
roses for
one
that
that
one.
you all come
Continue.
across, right? So I completely understand the overspending. I get all of that. I think we're absolutely on the same point with that. But the reason why the reason why I gripe about the hypocrisy in his statements that he's made is because he basically, in my opinion, he basically said everything that he needed to do to get elected. And then the big problems that the American people face, which one of them is the prices of food, the prices of everything else. And this is why I think, again, the lesser of the two evils. I didn't like either candidate, but
Really banging my head on the wall right
at
now.
least Harris brought to the forefront, and I wish that would have been more of her talking point if she wanted more kind of brownie points for everybody else, was the fact of price gouging, how we have this capitalist society, right? This is how we
She
run.
had no way. No, she had no way of articulating her way through price gouging because
You're
she was
right. You're right.
bold-faced lying to your face because it's not price gouging.
It's
The
crazy to
reason you
say
were
that
look
when you have
it's not crazy.
companies,
Okay, Kay, what's
you have
price gouging?
I'm just gonna say you have companies that
What is price gouging?
since
Hold on, before we get into companies' books, let's start at the very beginning.
so
What is
super
price
simple.
gouging?
Price gouging is you have, all right, let's assume that something cost $1, right? Now you have this company that says, you know what? I'm gonna just increase the price for no rhyme or reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
that's called capitalism in a private market. That's not illegal.
right. I'm not saying that
So
it's
what? So
illegal.
yeah.
What I'm saying is that's
Okay.
part of
No,
the
no, no, no.
problem there because you
You
have
should be because price gouging is absolutely a thing, and price
it
gouging
is
is
right.
absolutely illegal. So what is price gouging?
So again, like what I'm saying, so again, you're setting, or
What you're
even how
saying
they
is
do it
not
with
price gouging.
all right, you have what you know, I don't know the exact numbers, but you have basically a couple of groups that have the control over everything that we do. And let's just say assume gas stations. That's a super simple one, right? You have gas stations. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna set my price to this. You set your price to this. Knowing that the cost of gas is like, let's
That's
assume
not
it's
price
$1.
gouging.
All right, so
That's not price
so
gouging. Now
then
you're getting into like antitrust yeah, you're getting into different types of
I
violations.
guess that's mainly more. I mean, maybe price gouging isn't the right word that I'm looking for, but we have
Exactly. Wait, Kay, hold on. That's pivotal, my guy. Like that's pivotal.
well
You're
again
absolutely right.
maybe I'm using the wrong word.
No. It's not you. It's Kamala Harris even beginning to make you think of price gouging
No,
because
no,
it's
no.
not what the
I
fuck
think
was happening.
we're doing this is
Can I please say
we're
this?
splitting hairs when it comes to that because again, price gouging
We're not
that may have
splitting.
been the word that
We're not
she used.
splitting.
again, that may be the word
That's
that
a
she used, and that may
hold
be
on, K. That's very important. That
yeah, yeah,
is the word she used.
right.
She
And then
is a
there may
former
be a specific.
prosecutor. She was the hold on. She was the highest attorney in the state of California. Okay, she is a seasoned prosecutor with a JD, a Juris Doctorate, who has been a senator, who was the sitting vice president of the United States. She used the term price gouging, yet she could not articulate her way through what she actually meant by that and how she was going to fix it. That's a problem.
Okay,
She
you're
of
right.
all
You're right.
people, she of all
And
people
can I
should have
say
known
this?
what price gouging was.
So I mean, again, I think
Well, can I say
again
this?
maybe go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say you got to remember something about Harris. There's three key parts you got to look at: her age, she's her with her age and her memory. She's no better than Joe Biden. I'll be honest with you. Secondly, you got to remember this. She's gonna say whatever looks good in the media. If that's calling Trump a racist, telling him he's gonna price gouge everything, yada yada yada.
No, no, no.
She's
So,
gonna say whatever is gonna make the headline.
okay, fair enough. So I
And
think we're all
thirdly,
the
All
time
right,
to
the
talk.
most
all right. So
important
I
that
am
thing.
I am
was
by no
yeah. That
far
was that kind of
that
hold on, K. Don't that kind of derailed the conversation.
it
Hold
for
on.
sure did. But I'm gonna
Let's
get
get let's
hey,
yeah. Let's
but I derail
hold on.
you. I respect him
Let me get it back
for
on
But
track.
going,
Let me.
Kamala
I got
actually
you.
had
I got
said
you.
that that
Let me
Harris
get you back on
prosecuted.
track. There is no federal statute for price gouging. Okay. Now, am I in opposition of there being one established? No. However, understanding that there are currently, God, I think like 24 states that have price gouging, and most of them reside within like ocean bearing states. Due to the nature of what price gouging is meant to be, which is what is used during times of crisis and disaster, right? To your point, in a time of disaster, a gas station cannot take advantage of people suffering by increasing their price of their
right,
gas arbitrarily. A
correct.
grocery store cannot take a case of Ozarka water and increase it 20 or 200% in times of crisis. That is price gouging, right?
Correct.
I'm
Right,
cool
right.
with that being on the federal level. But to campaign and platform yourself on this price gouging notion, making people think that that's the reason that they were suffering at the grocery aisles, is a fucking farce that needs to be called out for what it is. Pandering is
Okay.
what it is. It's telling you what you want to hear so that you will elect her. And that's why she's not able to articulate how that was going to reduce grocery prices, because it fucking wasn't. Because Walmart's profit margins are sitting at roughly, God, I don't know, like 15 or no, I'm sorry, it's like yeah, I think it's about 15 to 20%, or roughly like 15 to 20 cents per dollar.
That's
Would
the
you
It's
agree that
overall. That's the
would you
overall
agree that
profit
Trump did a
margin.
lot of
oh, no,
things?
I'm
Profit.
sorry. Net profit
Yeah, yeah.
margin. You're right.
Yeah,
Net profit margins are anywhere
that's
between 1 and 3%.
yeah. I
Sorry.
was gonna say
At two and
one to
a half
three percent
percent.
on groceries.
So,
Yes.
Bone, would you
Right.
agree
What do
that
those so
Trump
we,
did a
we say
lot of
And
percentages
can
or
I
whatever.
please say
What do those
this?
numbers look like? Tell me what those numbers are.
Wait, hold on. I just want
Doesn't
to
matter
point
what they
out
are
that
in aggregate, my guy.
there are
That
48 states that have price gouging laws. The only states that don't are Hawaii and Arizona. Why they don't, I don't really know. But I want to ask you this regarding price gouging, since you seem to think
Price
about it.
gouging is a good thing.
Hold on. I want to ask Kay a question. So Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are currently in office. So if they truly cared about it, they could have done something. And I think a prime
absolutely.
example of that would be when you were looking at the recent hurricane that came and hit Florida, and you had a large majority of the state that needed to be evacuated because they were supposed to be hit very, very hard. And you witnessed true price gouging in the form of airline tickets that were normally $200 to $300, and all of a sudden, because there's a mandatory evacuation in place, plane tickets rose anywhere from $800 to $2,000. If they cared so much, specifically Kamala Harris, about price gouging, why wouldn't she step in and put an end to that to make sure that people could afford to get to safety?
Ever, there's no way I would ever be. I'm not her, so I couldn't. I agree with you though. I feel like I think I mean, I 100% agree with you. I feel like if they truly, but I feel like that with, it's not, again, this is what brings me back full circle. It's not a left or a right thing, because if any of those people who sit in the positions that they do, who are supposed to be representing us as the people, if they truly cared, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. You see what I'm saying? Whether you're Republican, Democrat, an independent's never been in there, but we'll throw them in there as well. If they truly cared, these things would have been fixed, right? If these people are truly representatives of us, the people, the majority, all these issues that we talk about would be non-issues. You know what I mean? They would already be fixed. But what they are just like the guy mentioned. It was is whatever Harris had to say in order to try to get elected. But you could literally flip the coin on the same end, and it would be the same thing. You have the person on the other side who literally said anything that needed to be said to get elected. But I specifically pointed out the hypocrisy in the fact that this was the same person who platformed about, he talked about eggs, he talked about bacon, he talked about cereal. We're going to get these prices down. We're going to reduce inflation. And he made it seem like he is the only one that could do that. So then literally a month later, you have a sit down conversation, and now you literally backtrack one of the bigger problems that everyday Americans are facing, which is their dollar is not stretching nearly as far as it used to. I think the bigger part of the problem is that and again, it's not trying to take money from the rich and
Okay.
to the poor or anything like
Okay.
that.
Okay, with all due respect, just because you say more words doesn't mean you
Today,
make more sense.
Well, what about what I said didn't make sense? And I can gladly try to
I
clear
mean,
up
you're
what.
literally just like just because you say more words doesn't mean you make more sense.
Okay, so again, what
It's
about
just an
what I said?
observation. I want you to let that sink into your mind, Kate, for future debates.
Well, you'll have to forgive me if I articulate myself a little bit different than the next
No,
person
that's
does.
all right, Kay.
You say a
I'm only
lot
a
to
human
say
being.
basically nothing.
So what about what I said was nothing? I want to clear up any
If the
discrepancies that
people
you
who
have
were
with my
in different
conversation.
positions, if they cared, we wouldn't have these problems. You're
Is
speaking
that
in
not
like
true?
you're speaking, yes, but this is not fucking reading Rainbow, my guy. Jesus Christ. We're trying to get to the nuts and bolts about how we actually put this country back on track. And
So
you're talking
what do
in
you
these
propose?
fucking word salads.
What do you
Jesus
propose?
Christ. Does
What do you
someone on this
propose?
panel have a fucking thing of ranch for me so I can put it on the word salad that Kay King is spewing out here? This is
What do you
insanity to me.
what do you
All
propose?
right, hold on.
Let's get
wait.
to
I'm
the nuts and
sorry. I'm
bolts.
going to
Let's
mute
get to
up.
the nuts and
Sorry.
bolts.
Wait,
Let's get to the
real
nuts and
quick,
bolts.
everybody.
What do you propose? What do you
Wait,
propose?
wait. Hold on. Before we even go to that point, you had brought up that he backtracked on something. What was it that he backtracked on?
He literally said that
Oh,
he was going to be the person that brought the prices of groceries down for American people. He said he specifically said that he was going to reduce inflation in our country.
Right.
And then the
So
moment that
how did
they
he
asked him,
backtrack on
How
that?
did he backtrack on that?
because so I guess you're right. And he hasn't quite became president yet, right? But at the same time, he literally sat down in an interview and said
Kay,
that it's going to be
Kay,
nearly
Kay,
impossible
this is
for him.
what
He
he
said he can't
said.
do it.
He
He said it's
hold on.
hard.
This is what he said, Kay.
It's too
He
hard.
didn't say, I'm not going to be able to do it. He said, bringing the prices down is very difficult. He says it's going to be hard to do. I think we can do it though. Right?
Well,
Now
of
look,
course,
he
of
didn't
course.
say, hold on. He didn't say, which is true. And he didn't say, I'm sorry, people, I can't do this. Right? And two, what Trump is going to be able to do for you and yours and me and mine is he's going to put more money into American citizens' pockets, which
How
is going
so?
to help you with the
How so? How so?
help you with the price of groceries. And we can get
How
to that
so?
for sure. Hold tight. Hold
Well,
tight.
we're
It's
talking
okay.
about word salads and
Not
shit. So
just
let's just
that.
get to
Hold
the
on.
nitty gritty.
Not
How
just
so?
that. By bringing down. Hold on. By bringing down energy costs, right, and drilling more and refining more. If we can bring down the price at the pump, that's one place to start, and there's more to go. Okay,
Gas
so
is the least of my
let's
concerns,
spend.
my
Hold
guy.
on. I spend most of my money on that shit for sure throughout the week, especially in Los Angeles. Okay, then When you bring
Oh
down
man,
energy costs, you also
I'm
bring
sorry.
down the price of logistics. You also bring down the cost of these large corporations to run their factories. Okay, and logistics comes into that after that. And then we have another plan. It's called tariffs. And as the biggest consumer in the world, it gives us a lot of power. Now, as you can feel like you are scared of tariffs, you obviously, and maybe you don't, maybe you do, it seems like you don't know too much about tariffs. And all you've heard is
What
it's
makes you
going to
what makes
raise
you
the
say
price.
what makes
And
you assume that? Who pays for the
because
tariff?
that's all I hear.
Who pays for 'em? Who pays for tariffs?
May I please say something?
Go
Uh,
ahead. Go
Let
ahead,
him
Cole.
answer the
uh,
Go
question.
ahead. No, no, I'm going to answer your question.
Who,
This
who
this is
pays for
great.
tariffs?
You made the
I
same argument that everybody else
want to
makes.
So it should be super easy for you to be able to
I
tell me
want to answer your
who at
question
the end
real
of the
quick.
Wait,
day
wait, wait, wait.
who's paying for the tariff.
Let KH go. Let KH go. What's up, KH?
Uh, Again, there, when it comes down to who pays for tariffs, at the end of the day, yes, they will take a little bit extra money. But if you really look at it, it's not a lot of money. And if you really are so against the tariff by American made products, and that will only go up by like 2 or so cents. Those American made products will stay roughly the same.
It's
You
okay.
Yes, there are
Another
some American
another
made
thing on
items
top of that, Kay.
that gets their
I'll be
materials
honest.
from.
All right,
Go ahead,
so
Kamal.
Wow.
And so if
go
you can't
ahead.
afford
So
a
again,
dollar,
who's paying
my
for
guy,
the
that's
tariff?
on you.
So I'm
I
not
just said the
trying to be
companies
funny.
and
The
Tariffs work.
companies are not paying
people.
for no. I mean, yeah, yeah, ultimately, but who's
I'm just
paying
telling you,
for it?
tariffs work. If
I
a
just said
part,
you and the
So
company.
in the history of our country,
Hold on.
You and the
tariffs
company.
have not been anything that has been anything of success.
What?
no,
Yeah.
Yes,
There
they
you
Yeah,
go.
have.
man.
Now, hold
no,
on.
that's not
You
true.
said the magic
Bro,
word,
you might
K.
want to pick up
K,
the book.
is that more of your common knowledge,
Yeah,
K?
that's my common knowledge. Absolutely.
Okay, you know why? You know why that common knowledge is
Because
so
we were
utterly
ran by
stupid,
tariffs for
K?
200
Why is
years.
that?
Is that we were ran off of tariffs for hundreds of years. As a
200
matter of
years.
fact, in the late
Yes, you are.
1800s, this country had
You're
so
talking about
much
a time
money.
frame that was
Listen,
so
hold on,
different.
wait a minute, Kay. I'm talking.
You're
Kay,
talking about
mute your
a
mic.
century,
Kay, can
two
you mute your
centuries.
mic for me?
I got you, man.
You know
Yeah,
the mute button that's right at the bottom in the
I
center of
got
your
you, man.
screen. It looks
I
like a
got you. Go ahead.
microphone.
Go ahead,
Can
man.
you
Go
mute
ahead.
yourself? I'll wait.
Go ahead. I'm not gonna mute myself, but go ahead.
Okay, then fucking control yourself.
Okay,
All
go
right.
ahead.
Yeah, just control yourself. Stop talking.
You got it, man. You got it. I
Okay,
know.
good, because I mute my mic when you're talking to spewing your word salads, okay?
All right, go
Right.
ahead.
Now what I'm shut up. Bro, you can't even control yourself and long thank you.
All right, continue, Adrian. It's okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Approach. I appreciate that. This country had so much money in the late 1800s from the imposition of tariffs that the problem we were seeing during the Industrial Revolution was not the need for money or the debt like we have now. We did not know how to store the money. Now I want you to understand something. We had one point in this country had so much money that we did not even know how to store the bullion, the silver, the gold, the paper money. We didn't even know how to store the amount of money that we had as a nation. Tariffs have always worked, my guy. They have not worked. They have always worked. We never had income taxes. You guys got to remember, we didn't have income taxes until well into the 1900s. We did not. This country is not built on income taxes. That's not a thing. That's a relatively new thing in the overall course of American history.
It's actually built off tariffs. Our country is actually built off tariffs.
Okay.
Uh,
So
but
Can I
yeah,
just say
it's
this?
built off tariffs.
so again, you're
Larry,
talking about something that's almost
Larry had something he
200.
wanted to put in. Larry,
Yeah. Adrian, you are absolutely right. We used tariffs for 200 years. Now, due to the war, we switched over to federal taxes. And what they found out is that taxes gave us more revenue than tariffs. That is the reason for the switch. It's not that the fact that tariffs didn't work, but it's the fact that we saw taxes gave us more revenue and our economy grew faster with taxes than tariffs. So therefore, they stayed with tariffs, and now we
That
were
is
to target
that's untrue.
tariffs. Now, what Trump was doing or was claiming he was going to do, because again, a lot of stuff that he says he's going to do, he ends up switching up however it goes. But at the end of the day, he was talking about doing a blanket tariff, which any economist, even back then, we did not do a blanket tariff.
Yes,
It's
we
just
did.
ridiculous.
Did he
Not a
wait?
full blanket tariff to that
We
extent.
absolutely had
Did I
blanket
With our
just
tariffs.
did I
economy the
did
way
I
that it is,
just
ma'am,
wait?
that is not true.
Did I just hear the
That
taxes?
is not
Did I
true.
just
Not with our economy. Like did you not hear what Adrian saying? Our economy was booming.
did I
So
just
it
hear?
didn't
Did I
matter.
just
My
did I
Did
just
point
someone
hear?
is, our
someone said
economy the
someone
way that
said
it is,
taxes
a
made the
Oh
blanket
my
economy
gosh,
tariff.
grow?
can we let Moon speak, please?
I
Did
was
I
not even
just did I?
finished.
That's the exact
Well, I just want to
in price gouging.
I
That's
just want to clarify what I heard. Did you say taxes grew the economy?
The taxes, yeah, actually for the government, for us, period.
Okay, so
no,
let's
that's not
correct
how.
Taxes grew
some
the
things here.
government.
Number one, we did run off of tariffs until 1913. That's when we started to see federal income taxes. They were specific. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. They were specifically supposed to be a wartime tax and end when the war did, but they didn't. Congress decided to continue them, but they certainly didn't grow the economy.
Well,
Go
if they
ahead,
did,
Moon.
did that's kind of
I'm
silly to say
sorry, I
that they
didn't know your
grew
name
the
was
economy.
Moon.
That's weird.
I didn't know your name was Moon. Go ahead, Moon.
Boom.
Hey,
I was just making sure that's what I heard. I was I was confused for a second. I was making sure that's what you meant.
I'm confused too, man. That confused me too.
It had nothing to do with taxes. Is that what you're saying?
okay,
I'm saying taxes does not equate
okay.
to economic growth.
I'm very sorry about that. Very sorry in regards to saying that it was economically
I
doing
think you
that. It funded the
misspoke there.
government. So I did, and I'm all right with
Well,
being wrong.
that's why I was asking for clarification. Like, I'm not trying to
Yeah,
dog you.
it's okay.
I'm
It's
trying.
okay.
I like so what you were trying. What you're basically were getting at was that the taxes increase the government spending capacity. Yes.
That would be correct.
Okay. All right. You can go on. My bad.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, you can continue.
Oh,
I just
okay.
wanted to clarify that point.
What only thing I was saying is that now, as for tariffs, I've really kind of been trying to get into it because again, I want to know, just like anybody wants to know, how do these things work, right? How can it work? Like Trump did do tariffs, right? And Biden, in fact, increased some tariffs. But these were more targeted tariffs, like for the EVs and things of that sort. And I understood, by listening and explaining why we should do certain things like that to try to domestically keep things, like the EVs where we're trying to push, where we were kind of behind, so we
Can
trying to
I
do
answer
these
this,
things to
guys?
help us, right?
So,
But at the
Larry,
end of the day, when you're
sure,
talking about doing a certain increase on a tariff, it has no choice because, like we
that's
all know,
okay.
we pay the
That's
tariffs.
okay. And I want to give you another idea. You could think about tariffs in this way. Okay. So between 2001 and 2009, America, we lost about 75% of our manufacturer companies to China. Okay. And the same people that are telling us now tariffs bad are the same people back then that told us we should move these companies to China because it's going to bring down the prices. Okay, they were wrong then, just like they're wrong now. And I think they knew they were wrong then, and I think they know they're wrong now, right? So because we were taxing these corporations so much, wealth is very smart. It's smarter than us. It says, I'm out of here. Okay. Now, we are going to give a 15% corporate tax rate to these companies to come back to America. And we are going to incentivize companies to buy American products with a 15% corporate tax rate. Okay. So we've already had big corporations saying, you know what, we're coming back to America. So that's a good start. Now, over time goes on.
What companies have you heard? I'm sorry to interject. What companies have you specifically heard that due to the 15% tax rate that they will inherit that they will be coming back and bringing their business back to the United States.
I'm trying to think
Apple.
off the top of my head. Yeah. So was it Apple was one of them?
Okay, so I'll piggyback on what Approach is talking about. One of the things that was accomplished through the Trump tax cuts was the repatriation of over $2 trillion that had been parked overseas. We were taxing corporations not simply on the monies that they made here, but we were double taxing them in a sense. So they were being taxed on the money they made in another country, right? By that country, naturally. Just like if you make money in Wisconsin, but you live in Pennsylvania, you'll pay Wisconsin's state taxes on the money that you made in the state of Wisconsin, right? Well, what we were doing to our corporations was we were saying, okay, you made that money in France, and even though you paid French taxes, corporate taxes, we're going to charge you this. We're going to charge you corporate taxes also when you bring the money that you made in the French market back into the United States. What Trump's tax plan did was you saw the largest amount of a repatriation of American company money in the history of our nation. It was over $2 trillion, I believe. It was several big companies. It was a lot of companies, but it was several very notable companies. Among them was Apple, for example. Then you saw massive stock buyback from Apple. Now, people will argue that doesn't matter because not everybody owns stock and blah, 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 blah. Well, the average American worker has a 401k or some type of investment vehicle through their job for their retirement. So it was an instant gain for millions, tens of millions of Americans gained in their 401ks and the Roth IRAs instantly from that single move. See, elections have consequences. And one of the consequences that's a positive consequence. Not all consequences are negative. Some consequences are positive. The positive consequences of a Republican administration is trickle-down economics. Because that always works. And you know why it always works? You're never going to go outside and see the rain trickle up. Whatever you do at the top will inevitably trickle down to the bottom. It will inevitably, it's gravity. And economics has gravity to it too. So when you cut corporate taxes at the very top, these companies have more money to invest in research and development, improving the quality of products, improving the manufacturing processes, hiring more employees, paying employees better benefits packages. And that's what these companies actually in reality do.
So, and
It's
I
not
get
like they
that.
just hoard all the profits to themselves. They expand. Go ahead.
Real quick, piggyback. So when
Absolutely.
people show graphs, like on these opinion pieces, it'll show you that the rich class is so high on the graph, and then it'll show this little tiny sliver, and that's the poor class, right? But what it doesn't show you is because of Trump's tax plan, the poor class rose 40%, and that's amazing. And so it's
It's
deceiving.
incredible, really.
Yeah, it's deceiving that these opinion pieces that people read make it seem like Trump did this horrible thing, but they're not showing that the poor class rose 40%.
That's right. And Approach, K King, do you have a regular job that you get a W-2 from?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so you get a pay stub every pay period, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now on your pay stub, you know how there's like line 1 and then right across from it's line 3. So you have like your gross wages and then you have your federal withholding.
Right.
I'm not sure how your pay stub is situated, but a lot of them is directly across from each other like.
Right.
When you get your last pay stub of this year, 2024, I want you to compare your pay stub and the amount being taken out for federal income taxes from your last pay stub of this year and your first pay stub of 2025.
Okay.
And okay, I want you to do that for me when you because it's gonna be a noticeable difference. But I want you're gonna notice it anyways in the overall figure because you're gonna get less money take home in that first pay period unless you've gotten a raise between the December 31st and January 1. Unless you got a raise in between that time, you're going to see more money being taken out for federal. What that is, when you see it, in not in theory, but in practice, what you're seeing is the Trump tax cut, 2017 Trump tax plan. because it cut taxes at every single income bracket. Every single income bracket. So the whole argument around income taxes as it relates to, Trump, particularly as a president,
Yeah.
the whole argument around taxes holds no water with Trump, because he cut taxes at every level. And actually the people who got the largest tax cut was the middle class.
Yep, through the standard deduction and the child
Absolutely, in child tax credit and everything. And the left likes to ignore that,
they were talking
because
about.
what they're saying is 2% on a million is more than 4% on 60 grand, right? But what we have right now, and I'll argue this till the cows come home, we have a system in our country that disincentivizes growth, that disincentivizes achievement and accomplishment, whether that be educationally or whatever. Because in our country, the more money that you make, the higher percentage on every dollar that you pay. Now, Kay, what scenario would you think that would be like a fair system? I'm not saying the more money that you pay. I'm saying the higher percentage that you pay on every dollar.
Well, so I mean, I would say that obviously, if I was somebody that had, let's say I net 100 million, yeah, I believe that I should have to pay out more than somebody who makes 60K a year. You know what I mean? I only feel like.
So let me chase this with him real quick. Approach. So let's just say taxes were fair, and everybody paid 10% of what they made. If I made $100 million, would I be paying more than somebody making $60,000 a year?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about just straight across percentages, yeah, your 10% goes farther than my 10%.
So why would it be your contention that somebody making, let's say a single mom making $32,000 a year as a manager of a McDonald's, she has 3 kids, she pays in $3,000 in federal taxes. I'm just using this as a hypothetical scenario. She pays in $3,000 in taxes. When she does her income tax return, when factored for all the credit, she gets an $11,000 refund, which means she hasn't paid any federal taxes. It means income taxes, which means she's getting a net back to her of $8,000, meaning the federal government paid her $8,000 to work that year. Yet someone who makes $100 million a year is going to pay about 40% of their income in taxes. So they're going to pay $40 million on their $100 million. Is that fair to you?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why.
I think you're a classist. I think what it is that you're envious. I think because you're a W-2 employee, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think you're envious of people who have achieved great success in business.
I have nothing against anybody getting where they're at with the work that they do.
But you want to penalize them when they do get there.
I don't think I think it's the terms. You're saying penalize. I don't think it's a penalty. What I feel like is
you don't think it's a penalty for someone who's wealthy to have to pay. I'm not saying pay more money, because you guys keep saying that some of these rich people are paying less than their secretary or less than their janitor. That's not true. I don't know any wealthy person, and I know many very wealthy people. I don't know a single wealthy person who pays less than their janitor. My sister's a doctor.
Right.
She has nurses that work for her that make $60,000 to $80,000 a year. She makes $500,000 a year, right? My older sister. Now, she pays more in taxes than 2 or 3 of her nurses make in an entire year.
Adrian, let me step in here real quick.
Go ahead and approach. I'm going to mute up. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was kind of monologuing.
You're killing it. No, all I was going to say was, so as far as the 1%, right, or let's just say, as far as the top bracket people out there, they already pay 70% of America's taxes, okay? And a lot of people are asking the left, well, what number is enough, And so the left's idea is we want to tax the rich, but even taxing the rich, that only make up for 1.5% of the GDP, and then remember I said earlier, wealth is like a body of water. It's smarter than us. It finds another direction. It finds a way. So that 1.5 is only going to turn into probably 1% of GDP when we have a huge issue at hand here. I don't like the idea of taxing the people who are smarter than us so that they leave. We already tried that. That's what happened.
I just was thinking that exact same thing.
You know, I mean, so so we're in a sweet spot right now, I believe. Okay, we're taxing the rich just enough to keep them around. Okay, and trust me, they don't want to lose anymore, but they're satisfied with what they're paying. Okay, so this is what most people don't understand is that wealth, it is smarter than us, and it is like that body of water. When it meets your resistance of higher taxes, she gone. So
I got an analogy for your approach it for Kevin. Let's say, for example, I need to raise $3,000, and I go to a wealthy benefactor of mine, and I say, in my mind, I know they have the $3,000 that I need, but I say to them, I need to raise $3,000. I've raised 750 of it already, so I'm still 2,250 behind. If that wealthy benefactor of mine says, I can give you, I can't give you the whole 2,250, but I can give you $1,000. Am I going to say, nope, fuck you, I don't want your $1,000. You can KMA. I can't believe you won't give me the 20. Or am I going to take the $1,000 and am I going to go to another benefactor and say the same exact story, same exact thing? I'm going to go from one benefactor to another until I cobble together the need. And that's how that works. And so it's like this on the left, what you got to understand, Kay, is because I think I genuinely do believe that you come at this from a place where you think you're truly independent, but right now everything that you've said here has been one-sided. None of what you have proposed or said in this discussion tonight or debate or whatever we want to call this has been independent in nature. None of it.
Look,
Now I think your desire is to be an independent. Maybe your party registration is independent and your desire is to be an independent thinker. And so what I want to tell you is that on the left, the political left, there are two major parties in this country, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. That will be the way it is for time immemorial, brother. When they put you in a box in the ground at the cemetery, that will still be the case. Trust and believe me, because it's baked into the cake of the way our country is set up. Okay. Now, because of that, you have to determine for yourself, where is the left, the political left, where is the Democratic Party, where are they headed? And where is the Republican Party headed? The Republican Party is headed to this philosophy that we'll take the $1,000 and we'll try to raise the other $1,250 from other entities. We already raised $750 on our own. But the Democratic Party's philosophy is you're going to give me the $2,250 or you're nothing. You're going to give me the $2,250 or you're a piece of crap. You're going to give me the $2,250 or you're a racist or all these different things. That's where we're at. And to be honest with you, that's why Kamala Harris lost.
facts.
She lost because it was an all or nothing equation. Like, I have to accept that Tommy can be Tammy. I have to accept all of these different social things, mores and norms and new norms and pronouns and all kinds of different stuff. I have to accept all of that. And if I refuse to accept that or say, hey, we're going to live and let live, but keep that away from my kids, I can't do that, because at that point, if I don't accept it full stock, then I'm a bigot. And the same thing applies to taxes. It cannot be an all or nothing equation. The Trump tax cuts were one of the best tax pieces of tax policy ever, and they actually increased the revenues to the federal government.
Amen.
The federal government's tax revenues went up with a broad tax cut at every tax level. Now, how is that possible, right? You would think if I cut taxes for every income tax level in our country, including corporations, that the amount of money that we brought in would go down. No, it went up. And this is why trickle-down economics has always worked. Always. It's always, you can go all the way back. Look at the Bush tax cuts. What happened after Bush cut taxes? Revenues went up. The economy started steamrolling all the way up until like the great housing bubble nonsense in 2008. That was unpredictable. And arguably, it dates back to Glass-Steagall and the deregulation of banking under Bill Clinton. But we're not even going to go there. See, the die was cast. The left always sets us up. So they're setting us up right now with all this different stuff around the world. He's trying to set Trump up for failure. I'm telling you, man. Pay attention, man.
Last time Trump went into office, they raised the interest rates on him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's even listening anymore, you guys, but since DC feels the need to be introduced, people, ladies and gentlemen of the live, all 54 of you, put your hands together for DC. We have no idea who the fuck he is or what he stands for, but he's here in the panel and won't speak until being introduced. So, DC, welcome.
Hi there, UC from Houston 39. Somebody asked me like, "Hey, you should speak up," and I responded to them like, "Hey, I was just waiting to be introduced. I didn't
That
know."
was
Like,
me.
I've been to some lives where people are like, "Hey, don't talk until you get introduced." So,
No, don't worry. Infamous woke up this morning and chose violence.
okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to be like, "I'm waiting to be introduced." That wasn't.
Oh.
Well, now you've been introduced,
Yeah.
so you can speak. You don't have to type in the chat. You're on the panel.
Gotcha. Thank you. I just wanted to mention. I wanted to comment on what Adrian was saying about the income tax brackets, and the tax code is a tome of tax law, and those brackets are only like a small part of it. There are other things that made the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act a windfall for the wealthy, and those things were things like step up in basis.
Good. We love windfalls for the wealthy.
Well, I thought you were saying like, oh, like it really wasn't that great for the wealthy because
Well, I'm just saying, you know
these
what
tax
happens
brackets.
you know what happens when I didn't say it wasn't great for everybody. When the wealthy gets a windfall, what does that mean?
Well, since 1980,
What does it mean in real terms? If I work at a small to medium cap company, so I work at a company like I did before, company that had like 185 employees, family owned company, manufacturing firm.
Yeah.
You know, whenever we would have a windfall, like a hugely profitable quarter or year, what do you think happened for us 185 employees of that family-owned firm?
I can tell you what didn't happen: a stock buyback.
No. I'm just saying what.
I imagine you probably looked
that
at
doesn't
growth
happen in a
or
family-owned firm. I'm talking about the average
or
company.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What happens for the average worker there?
Yeah, I think when we're talking about something that has
Do
a
we
higher,
get wage? Hold on. Do we get wage increases?
I don't know. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did the American workers get wage increases under Trump?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Wages have been stagnant for a long time.
Okay, you weren't paying attention. Rachel Baddow was telling you wrong on MSDNC, my guy.
Okay.
So you're using talking points, and I'm going to go back to you, DC. I'm going to let you do that for a little while so that you can walk yourself into this glue trap, and then I can put you in the waste bin of this conversation. But what I will say is, when the wealthy gets a windfall, this is my opinion, but this is what generally happens in an economy. When the job creators, okay, there's two groups of people, two classes of people. There's people who create jobs, and there's people who work jobs. There's no shame in working a job. But when we're talking about job creators, I love how people who work for somebody else, they're not the CEO, they're not the person that founded the company, they work for somebody else. Talk about the workers, talk about the job creators. It's laughable to me. You can't have an economy without the job creators. The whole thing doesn't work. So if anything, our job creators should be placed on the same type of artificial pedestal that we're trying to put workers on every day. Because if I start a corporation and I have 5,000 employees, those 5,000 employees are not just answerable to me, I'm answerable to them. Because without me doing an effective job as the owner and leader of this company, they don't have a job. So this is why we build into tax policy what you're calling windfalls for the wealthy. We do that because those credits that you're referring to, they were based on very specific guidelines in the Trump tax cuts. Things like investment in research and development, things like higher levels of safety training, bonuses for your employees, not just corporate employees. I'm talking about incentivized and performance-based incentive bonuses. You got to look into this shit. This was all outlined in that plan. So all of those benefits and all of those credits and all of those write-offs became what the left in the media called a quote-unquote windfall to the wealthy.
Man, I got an even
So, so
deeper question.
Go
I
ahead.
got an
well, I
even deeper
wasn't.
question. No, this is even
I
deeper,
never seen you
DC.
like this, man.
Let's
You're
go to the
more
ground
business
floor.
than ever today. I love this
Let's
side of
just
Adrian.
no,
I
no,
just
no.
looked it up. Wages
Sorry,
actually
approach.
wages
I
today
want
are
to hold on.
worse
I
than they
want to go to
were
the ground
before the
floor.
TCJA
Okay,
went into effect.
DC. Let's get to the foundation of the house here. What the fuck gives you the right to tell other people how much money they should spend on shit?
What I don't understand the premise of the question.
Okay, your entire premise of tax policy is I'm going to look in my neighbor's kitchen window and decide how the fuck they're going to eat their turkey. Like, nah, I think we should give half their turkey to everyone else
Is that not accomplished
because
by setting tax
they have a
brackets?
giant fucking turkey.
I didn't set the tax brackets. Somebody else did.
You're
But I
missing
mean,
my point, brother. Philosophically, you're corrupt.
okay, but
You're
the person
saying
that made
I
the tax
look in my
brackets is
neighbor's
also
kitchen
corrupt.
window and their turkey's bigger than mine, so I'm going to tell them that they have to give half that turkey to someone that I think should have it.
So having an opinion on taxes makes me philosophically corrupt.
No, we're just saying
Yes.
your opinion on
Okay.
taxes is like completely asinine if you're looking at to find a tax bracket that's going to be fair to the American working class.
And hold on, guys. In fairness, DC, can you please unpack and elaborate your tax policy before we say what you think about taxes?
Thank you.
I was just saying when you said I was only simply responding to the windfall to the wealthy, which I am 110%, 110 times, 10 toes down, chest out for windfalls for the wealthy. Okay. I don't want to be in the 99% when I finish this race. I want to be, you're talking to someone who is headed fast track to the 1%. So I want those windfalls for my children and my grandchildren one day. Okay. I want all the windfalls for me putting my ass out there to bump every single day as an entrepreneur in this society. The person who has to stay up, sleep for 4 hours a day and bust their ass for 60, 70, 80 years to build a corporation. I deserve those windfalls. I earned that money. That's my money, not the American government's money. But go ahead. I want you to outline for me your tax policy, DC, before everybody kind of jumps on you without really knowing what your position is.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying was the tax code includes a lot of things that are outside of this these marginal tax rates and the tax brackets, which I think what you were showing was that was for just income. It wasn't for capital gains, right? So most wealthy people, their income is through capital gains. So they're already at a much lower tax bracket. And then
Don't forget
real
that capital gains is how the middle class gets out of the middle class. But go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a good wealth generator for people, but most of the people that own stocks, most stocks are owned by wealthy people. But I'll move on.
Sorry, excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Actually, most
there were
stocks
things
are
that
owned
were
by
introduced to the
government
bill.
employees.
There were things that were introduced to the bill to include step up in basis, the carry forward and carry backward of net operating losses for companies, I mean, and various other things that just like the expansion of the exclusion for the debt or the gift and estate tax. That is now like
DC, you still need to justify to me where you or someone else has the right to come into my house under the threat of force. Okay, that means the police and all of the physical force they bring with them to decide how much of my dinner I should give to someone else.
yeah. I mean, am I the only one that finds like this idea that like
It's because you don't think about taxation as theft, but it is. You're saying under force, the government will come to your house and decide how much of your dinner, and I'm using dinner as an example because it takes money off the plate. Okay? How much of my dinner I should give to my fucking, I don't know who, but you get to decide. You and your friends are arguing over how much of my dinner you're going to take from me and my family and distribute fairly. And I'm saying that in air quotes.
Something tells me you don't know what things like step up and basis are, and so you're coming up with
Okay,
this,
stop.
nonsense.
I know exactly what it is. You're missing my point fundamentally because you don't want it's completely incongruent with what you believe. You would feel entitled.
It negates
to
anyone's
over
ability to have
things that don't belong to you.
It negates anyone's ability to have an opinion on tax.
No,
like
because fundamentally taxation is theft and extortion. It's not voluntary. If it's not voluntary, it's extortion. I don't want to give people my money. And if the government didn't threaten me with force, incarceration, physical force, seizing my assets, I wouldn't give them money. It doesn't belong to you. You're arguing over other people's stuff. How do you not understand this?
Wow.
Okay, answer.
How do you not fundamentally not get this? You're arguing over going into your neighbor's fridge with the cops and saying, hey, I think that we should take half the stuff in this fridge and just redistribute it to whoever the fuck we want. It's the same fucking thing, whether it's $1 or a chicken or a piece of steak or some asphalt or a chunk of steel or a piece of a tire, whatever it is.
Wow.
You've decided, you and your goon fucking friends have decided to go steal from your fucking neighbors with force and then redistribute that shit to whoever the fuck you feel is entitled to it. It is the most asshole fucking opinion you can possibly fucking hold. I am not responsible for your fucking family. I will never be fucking responsible for your fucking family. And I'm not responsible for your neighbor's fucking family. I'm responsible for my fucking family. And I am tired of waking up every single fucking day and having the value of the things that I've earned get all fucked up because you guys support a fucked up tax policy and a fucked up monetary policy that keeps debasing the value of every fucking thing I earn because you feel entitled to have to shit in my fucking fridge. And fundamentally, this is the fucking problem. You're not entitled to have to shit in my fucking fridge or have to shit in my driveway. I don't have to split the ownership of my BMW with you. I don't have to split half my fucking paycheck, and I am tired of fucking supporting it. And let me make it very clear to you. People like me are getting very fucking fed up, and we're about ready to do something about it. So sit down, shut the fuck up, and stop feeling entitled to things you didn't fucking earn.
Okay, I was explaining why Adrian's
Fucking
concept
shit.
of tax
Hey, hold
code
on,
is
DC.
incorrect.
Shut the
DC,
fuck
wait.
up. You're not entitled to
Okay,
people's
so you guys
stuff.
don't-
Stop
DC,
trying to
you guys are
justify it.
scared. You don't know
You're
what
engaging in
NOL
what's
is.
known as a rationalization.
DC, hang on one
You're
second.
rationalizing wanting someone
Sean,
else's stuff and then claiming basis points and tax policy.
Sean, we can't hear you because you got to bend over and pick the mic up off the fucking floor. You just dropped it. Okay, DC, do you understand what Sean is saying on that mic drop moment that he just had? That was incredible, dude. I wish I would have had that shit screen recorded.
Can I respond without being interrupted?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I came into the thread to talk to you about the claims that you made on the tax code. And
Okay.
when I did, Sean is now telling me that I'm eating chicken off of his table. I don't understand how, where we got there, but I mean,
Wait a minute. You do not understand. Do you understand what Sean was saying?
I understand that Sean has an issue with income tax, but if we want to have that conversation, we can have that conversation. I came in because you made some claims that I think are not the full picture, and I was trying to provide a more fulsome picture. I don't think you all are interested in that.
No. But do you? That's not what I asked. I asked you, do you understand what Sean was saying? Thank you very much.
That income tax is theft.
Right.
Got it.
Do you agree with that sentiment?
No.
Do you agree that something that is not voluntary, that is done to you by force, whether that be legal, financial, seizure, that type of thing, would you at least concede the concept that is not something, that income taxes are not something that we pay voluntarily in our country, I should say. I'll retract.
What you just described, and the enforcement of any law falls into what you just described.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
You said not voluntary.
A law, if I make a law that says you have to do something, whether you want to or not, you have to do this. Like, you will wake up, everybody in America will wake up at 5 a.m. every day. That's now the law. And I go door to door with my police department and I wake everybody up, make sure everybody in America is awake at 5 a.m. all across this country. Would you be okay with something like that?
No.
Okay, but you're okay with the fact that you have no say in whether or not you will pay taxes to this government.
I think that's a poor analog, and it's not. I do have
It's the exact same thing.
I do have a say.
It is. So what Sean laid out for you in incredibly articulate language, chest out, 10 toes down, pointed out to you that he is not for you involuntarily making him be financially responsible for the family next door using the vehicle that is known as income taxes to do it.
He doesn't have to participate in the economy if he doesn't want to.
Oh my God.
Oh
DC,
my
are you being
goodness.
serious?
He doesn't have
DC,
to.
do you?
Nobody's forcing him
You
to.
like
You cannot
taxes?
under hold on. I'm gonna go right to you, cult leader, infamous. I'm gonna go right to you. Listen. I'm just trying to have a breakthrough moment with you right now, DC. So you can at least understand the frustration that this man just literally just shared with all of us about this involuntary taxing that we are all under in this country. And you literally have turned your brain completely off and refuse to even hear what he's saying.
Every enforcement of a law or regulation is based on participation in some form. Like if I
Just
don't want to get a
because
driver's
it's
license,
legal
then don't
doesn't
participate.
make it moral.
It's not cool, dude. And here's the thing. Sean will work every day. And you know what? Sean, even though he's frustrated about our tax system, he'll still fucking get up every day and he'll still pay the goddamn taxes. But what he doesn't want is a government that takes more and more and more and does less and less and less for people like us.
I'm trying to give you more and more. And
No, you're
you're
not
not.
trying to give us more and more. What you're trying to do is take from our employers.
you're billion.
Or us
Okay.
as employers. You're trying to take more from the wealthy so they can stick it to the middle and lower classes even a little bit more than we're already getting it stuck to us. That's what you're calling for. It must be nice to sip on your soy latte every morning, DC. It must be nice to drive your Tesla to your cushy six-figure job, DC. Because that's what you sound like. That's
I'm a small
exactly
business
what you
owner.
sound
I
like
don't
on this
have a
panel. You
six-figure
don't
job.
sound working class. You don't even sound middle class, bro. You sound like a yuppie right now who has a sweater tied around their shirt. They used to call them the squares. Remember the movie Crybaby? That's
I'm
what
a
you sound
cardigan
like. You
guy.
sound like one of the squares in Crybaby. But go ahead, DC. I'm going to mute my mic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm a small business owner. I don't make six figures. Started my business earlier this year, and I promise you, I'm not wealthy. So I think that things like
Business never grows.
okay, great. The things like NOL, step up in basis, and the expansion of the exclusions of the gift and estate tax, those things have made it possible for the wealthy to hold on to a lot of wealth. And the claim that trickle down economics works kind of there's data that shows a wealth transfer from the bottom 50% to the top 1% in this nation since 1980, which I think like that's pretty much when trickle down economics became very popular. And so I don't know how that wealth transfer is explained.
DC, did you not hear me earlier when I said that because of Trump's tax plan, the poor class rose 40%?
Rose 40%. What is the metric? I'm sorry. Rose 40% what?
In their wealth.
The tax cuts increased who like the bottom 25%, the bottom 10%.
Bottom 50% saw a higher distribution of wealth than the top 1% did.
Yeah, no,
since the tax cuts.
unfortunately, that's just not true. The bottom
Why are we
50%.
still
That's according to
arguing
It's
the
not
about
government.
true. It's not true in the sense that it's in whole dollar amounts, but
No,
in a
it
per
is.
capita or
I
percentage
can-
basis, it is very true.
No, it is
Yeah, it's
in
very
whole dollar amounts. The bottom 50% increased their wealth by over 300% compared to I think it was like 120% in the top 1%. This is actually data that the Federal Reserve has actually put out there. It's
Right.
readily available for anybody to
Right.
look at.
Because
All right,
trickle
what are
down
they-
works every single time. I promise.
what's the current labor participation rate in the market? Something like 110 million people, or it's not even that, is it? It's like 80 million or something.
I think what is it, 4%, 4 something, 4 and some change for
No,
everybody?
You guys
labor
hear they found
participation
more
rate. How
fake
many people
jobs?
are actually fucking
It's
working?
about 63%,
that?
62 to 63%, somewhere in there.
Okay, so let's just say it's a nice round 100 million because it's an easy number to work with, just for statistical extrapolation.
Mhm.
MJ, what's the percentage of that people? if we
Zyvek,
look at a big giant distribution.
You're gonna
curve?
rustle your
And-
chip
and I
bag.
hate
Can you
even
please mute
entertaining
your
this.
mic?
I'm
I
sorry,
hate
there
it.
was two
My
people
fault, bro.
talking
My
at one
fault.
time.
I hate entertaining this fucking argument, but we're going to illustrate it just because these fucking people don't listen.
Am I going to have to do math?
No, I think you could probably just pull the numbers. But so you got 100 million people, and 75 million of that 100 million people make less than $50,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the fucking reality. Okay, the next 25%, the next 20% make under 80,000 a year. Now you're arguing over the next 10% of the population, by the way, which is the next 9%, and the bulk of those people work for the fucking government. You know what the average government job in Washington D.C. pays? It's like $120,000 to $180,000 a year.
Yeah.
There's about 6 million of those motherfuckers spread all over the goddamn country, between contractors, between fucking contractors, and actual fucking regular employees. So the people that you're complaining about that are making too much motherfucking money are the people that are living off your motherfucking tax money. Okay, because that's the income that you're complaining about.
Boom.
Now I know you're too stupid to say this.
I think this is not even germane to what I was talking about.
No, that's the fucking reality. You're arguing about the people who live in that fucking 9% zone that are largely government employees or contractors that are directly or indirectly contracting. That's what you're complaining about. Those are the people living off our tax dollars. And
I don't know where you got
most
that.
of the
Where did I
federal
say
income
that?
doesn't even come from fucking income taxes. Actually, it comes from mineral rights and fucking tariffs. But, why do we constantly talk about income? This is so ridiculous, dude. Like, look,
Are we
you're not
having the
entitled
same
to other
discussion?
people's stuff, and
Like-
I'm sick and tired of hearing people like you make these disingenuous fucking arguments that you're entitled to argue over how much shit your neighbors should give up.
You're tired of
I'm sick and
disingenuous
fucking tired of
arguments?
hearing this. There's nothing moral
Did you
about
make a
your
disingenuous argument?
It's an entirely disingenuous argument because you're starting with the very premise that taxation is a moral thing, and it is not. It is an immoral crime against your neighbors.
Well, okay, I got a
It is
question
an
then.
immoral stance to steal from your neighbors to fund things that you want. Look, if you want a park and rec center, more power to you. Go get a bunch of people together and pay for it. But the minute you mandate I have to pay for it with the threat of legal force is where you're out of bounds. This is the great American experiment that a lot of fucking socialist and leftist and collectivist group ideologicals people don't get it. You're off on a tangent of, well, we're going to argue about how much you should pay or who should pay. The answer is, if people don't want to pay for it, they shouldn't have to.
That
That's
makes
why
no
we
sense
have-
absolutely whatsoever. And if,
Why
and
the
if-
fuck should I have to pay for stuff you want?
Okay, let me make a
Hold
plan
on.
then. If they don't want to
I'm not
make
asking you to pay
say
for
something
anything I
real
want.
quick.
I don't.
real
Let
quick.
me just say something real quick.
All right,
hold
go
on,
ahead.
hold on 1 second. I apologize. I don't speak much, but when I do, it's very important. So everybody listen. Sean actually brings up a good point, and I would actually take it further and argue the other stance that, especially when the custodian of those funds is being extremely irresponsible with those funds.
That's
Okay.
true too. That's a good point.
Sure, but can I
Does that
make a
make,
claim
I
real
mean,
quick?
does everybody understand what I'm saying? I'm talking
Yeah.
I'm
about
not
the government.
defending fraud, waste, and abuse.
No,
The whole
I mean,
thing is fraud, waste, and abuse.
Well, I
The
mean,
whole
we're
fucking
$36 trillion
government.
in debt.
okay, that's absolutely insane to say. I'm not gonna lie. So if you
How
don't
the
want to
fuck
pay
is it
taxes,
insane?
let me just speak for a second. If you don't want to pay taxes, guess what? Then it should also be as a way. Okay, you're not allowed police come to your house to save you. You're not allowed to have fire department come to your house and save you. You're not allowed to use the public transport.
Stop.
You're not allowed to use the roads.
Stop right there.
These
We're
are
going to
all
perform a
things that
thought
are paid
experiment.
by
You get
taxes.
it.
That
Hold
have
on.
to be paid by
Zyvex,
taxes.
stop.
Am I wrong
We're
on
going to
this?
perform a thought experiment right now.
Am I wrong on
I hope
this?
you can get this.
Am I
Hold
wrong
on.
on this?
No. Hold on.
No,
We're performing
we
a
agree
thought
with
experiment.
parts
I'm
of
going to teach you a lesson. Zyvex, you now have $100.
Uh-huh.
Adrian, The Approach, MJ, Infamous, Dark, and Kamala. Is that Kamala Hater over there? I want to take a vote, and the response is aye. Okay.
Okay.
We're all going to vote on taking 75 of your $100, and we're going to give it to DC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, give us
Okay.
75 fucking dollars. Now,
I think it was
You got-
previous
you got my
before
money?
on that.
you
What's
got my
your
money?
point?
All right, we're all going to come over to your house now and beat you with a bat and throw you in a dirt hole in the ground. Does that seem fair
This
to
has
you?
nothing to do with what with the
This
tax.
is exactly what you're doing to your neighbors.
This is absolutely not.
It's the
Absolutely not.
exact same
Once again-
fucking thing.
Once again,
I was
How
at the
you
HOA
don't
meeting
understand
last
this.
night.
Zyvex, do you get money from the government?
no, I don't get money from the government. No,
You sure you don't work a government job?
no, I don't work a government job. No,
Do you get tuition?
no, I don't get.
You get
what do you mean,
grants?
Do I-
One more quick question,
I
Zyfek.
got,
you have
I
a
got a
job?
private scholarship for to go to college, but yes,
Are you
but not for the government.
How's your
So
feeling
basically, you
about-
are living off the government.
Not the government. Private scholarship, much different.
You didn't get a
off the
Pell
government,
Grant?
bro.
It's called a private scholarship, much different than the
You didn't
government.
get a Pell Grant?
No, not a Pell Grant. No such thing
Do you
as a grant from
appreciate
the government.
national defense?
What the fuck?
Oh, boom! Got you, dude.
No. But let's think about it. If you don't want to pay taxes, then guess what? You shouldn't be allowed to use roads. You shouldn't be allowed to use bridges. You
We
shouldn't
don't
be.
have to pay taxes to pay for those things, Buttercup.
And guess
And
what?
We're already
And your
paying
understand
argument is
that you
57 cents a
are
gallon.
dumb
What are
and
you
you
talking
your
don't
about?
argument is
understand
we
how
shouldn't pay for
literally
taxes.
anything
Okay.
works.
Are you
The
saying that the alternative is tariffs?
we
You
don't
No,
have to.
what is the,
Our
hold on,
country.
how much
we
fuel
need money.
taxes is the price
We
of a
need
gallon
money.
of
We need
gas?
money to build those things. Am I wrong?
Zybex,
I've
how
been
much
trying to
money
show
on
you
in a
guys
gallon
this
of
chart
gas
for the
is the
past
price of a
10
gallon of
minutes
gas's tax?
to show you how TCJA worked.
I
Hold on,
came
guys.
up here
Can
thinking we were
Infamous
talking about
go?
aliens.
TCGA did
Shit,
not.
y'all
What
talking
did TCGA
taxes.
do
Can we get us to Infamous for a
to get us
second,
more
guys?
money? Because it put us in a
Okay.
debt. It put us
Well,
in a
if
much more
you
Give this
debt.
to
could,
Infamous. Infamous has the big box. Everybody, please
if
mute
you
up.
could read the screen, you're going to see this is the prior tax law. This is under TCJA. So those making $19,050, 10%, that stayed the same, right? But when we go up to the next tax bracket under the previous tax law, those making up to 77.4 paid 15%. Under TCJA, that stayed at 17 or 77.4, but it went down to 12%. Okay. Then in the prior tax law, up to 150 paid 25%. Under TCJA, that 156 went all the way up to 165 and down to 22.
Real quick
Under the
before you move
previous
on,
tax law,
what's your point here? What's the
237
point?
No.
9.
Hush, Zybeck.
Can
What's
you
the
be
point? I
quiet?
mean, I can see the numbers. I'll see the numbers.
You're so rude. Not
I just want to know
everybody's.
Zybex,
what's the
she's
point. Like,
talking. Zybex, mute your mic, please, or
Oh
we're gonna have to
Lord.
drop you.
Always the fucking children. Under the previous law, 237 950, 28%. Then we go over to TCJA, that increased to 315,000 and went down to 24%. Up to 424 950, they paid 33%. That increased to, or I'm sorry, that went down to 400,000 and they went down 1% to 32%. Then we have up to 480.50, they were paying 35%. That went up to 600,000 and stayed at 35%. Anything over the 480.50 was paying 39.6. Anything over 600K was at 37. So how are you going to look at these numbers and compare these laws and say that the middle class did not benefit from the TCJA?
I can tell you if you want.
real quick, my whole claim was that Sean was talking about we don't need income tax at all, right? That's what I was going off. This dude was talking about how paying taxes was a crime, a hate crime. You're getting brutally beat every time
We
someone your
don't
taxes
need to
get
pay
taken.
taxes. Our
Okay,
country
and my
functions.
point was we need money to fund services like public transport. We need money
Okay, so when
to
when
fund
did
police,
federal?
Stop.
Okay,
fire
You're
so with
department.
not
all of your
entitled to
college
make other people pay for
education,
things you want.
hold
That's
on,
not how
Sean.
it works.
With
Okay,
all of your,
then
hey, Buttercup, with all of your
once your house
college
is on fire, who's gonna come
education,
save your house?
great.
If there's no
Okay, so you're gonna shut
I
up
pay
and listen
property
to
tax
me.
for.
No, you can come off mute when I ask my question. Go ahead, Buttercup, with your college experience of what, one semester, and go ahead and tell us what year did federal income taxes get implemented in the United States of America?
it was
Without
around
jumping to
It was
Google.
around World War One, I
It was
believe.
1913. And how did our
Yeah,
country
exactly.
function? How did our country function prior to that?
You're saying we use tariffs, right? You're gonna go on this claim that we use tariffs. Can we talk about how nowadays we have a lot
We
more people?
did.
What's the population compared to now when it is
It
back then?
doesn't matter.
What's the pop? Absolutely, it does.
No,
Absolutely,
it
it's 100%.
doesn't.
Hold on, wait a second. Is this Vex? Is this is Stan's dad? You owe me $100, son. Same cat, right?
Damn,
What are
you
you
I've
owe
saying?
never in my
$100?
life, like MJ, Approach, Adrian, Sean, did you guys ever think that we would see people demanding to pay taxes? It's
No one is
Only
absolutely
demanding
Hold
to
mind
pay
on.
blowing.
taxes, but
They're
my claim is
demanding
that
you pay
I
taxes.
understand,
Infamous,
Vex.
infamous. And
you need money to fund things. That's the whole point.
the crazy part is
Vex.
they're literally voting and like spewing these talking points directly against their own best interest.
I know, it's crazy.
It's
Salaries.
crazy. It's the
More
craziest shit I've
people
ever
talk
seen in
about
my
Hold
life.
on a
salaries.
second.
Wealthy
MJ, what were
people
you
talk
trying to
about
say?
capital
Well,
gains.
I think we got to understand first off, Vex, to your point, because you keep arguing if your house catches on fire, if you get robbed or whatever, you can't
Absolutely,
call the police. We understand that. I mean, that's what local property taxes are for, your local sales tax, things
that's
like
not
that.
how it works. You can look it up.
That's what we're talking about.
Just
We're
precisely how it
specifically
works.
talking about
I
income
specifically
Wait,
did
taxes.
research as
why
to
do you hold on, Zybex? Why do you keep saying that's not how it works? That's not how it
because
works.
I specifically did research as to show what the federal income tax is allocated to.
Okay,
I
so
looked it
what
up.
is
I'll
your
give you a couple.
source so I can
I'll
go
give you a
pull it
We
up
couple.
on my
I'll
understand.
give you a
computer
couple.
right
Hold on, hold
now?
on, hold on, hold on. We understand that they give states grants and things like that for certain things if there's a
Absolutely,
highway
yeah.
project or something like. We get that.
Sure.
Your local police department, your schools,
Mm-hmm.
that's property and sales tax. Okay,
No, that's not
for the
true.
most part.
That's not
Most
true.
Yes,
part.
that is
No,
very
it's
true,
not.
For the
bro.
most
It's not.
part, that is true.
What
For the
about what?
most
Okay,
part.
you guys think that our veterans should be supported?
We're not talking
Oh
about
my
veterans.
god.
Oh, okay,
Okay, and
but who pays for those?
hold on.
The federal income
We
tax.
understand who pays for that. Yeah, no,
100%.
we get that.
We're
We
not
get
we're
that.
not we're not taught listen.
We're not
Hold
trying to
on.
cut veterans off.
Right,
No, I
17.
understand, but you're trying to cut all income taxes off, right?
I wouldn't
MJ,
even say
listen, this
that. I
dude
wouldn't
right
even go
here,
Well,
that
that's what
far.
listen.
Sean was saying. That was my whole claim. That's what I was going off. Sean was saying
No,
we.
no,
I
what
would be
Sean
willing
was
to bet
saying is
money
that you
right
do
now
if
that you don't even pay taxes.
right.
I'm
Yeah, I
willing
was
to
gonna
bet
say
that
you
you
don't
fill
even
No,
in
have
for
you
I
your
don't
do,
even
but
parents.
pay
you
taxes,
you
bro.
can think that. Don't worry.
Yeah, you absolutely act like an entitled, self-righteous asshole that
Sure,
mooches
you can
off
have
of
your
his
opinion on
parents.
that.
You absolutely do.
Sure,
But I will
but you
say
can have your own
this:
opinion.
the
I really don't care.
tariffs. I mean, we lowered the tax rate, implemented tariffs, and we're seeing record high receipts on taxes to the federal government.
What do
I
you mean?
mean,
The tax
well,
revenue went
our
down because
government
of
is
tax
taking
cuts
in
without
more
that.
tax revenue. We're paying a lower tax rate. All
Do
right,
you own a house?
so
No, I don't house. No,
No. Okay. Do you live with your parents in their
no, I'm in the
basement?
dorms. I'm in the dorms.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 19.
Oh yeah. You shouldn't even be in these conversations, bro.
Why? What?
No, because
What?
you need because you don't
What is
because
this
I'm not trying
argument?
listen, I'm not insulting your intelligence. I'm insulting
uh,
your life experience. You do realize that I have like I'm literally like in what's today? In 12 days, I'm gonna walk my oldest child down the aisle, all right, to get married to my son-in-law
What's
who's
your
in the
point,
United
man?
States Air Force, both of whom are older than you. Like
Okay, what's your
you
point?
lack life experience, my guy.
That has no
When
reasoning to
yes, it has a lot
having
of hold
knowledge
on.
on a
It
specific.
has an incredible amount of
Absolutely
bearing.
not.
It
Absolutely
has an
not.
incredible amount of bearing on conversations like this. If we're having this conversation with a 19-year-old, let me ask a question. MJ, how old are you?
hang on, I can't hear you.
How old are you, MJ?
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. What now?
How old are you?
Old enough to party.
Okay. No, I mean it was part of an exercise. Infamous, how old are you?
40.
Got you.
Huh?
Got you. I'm
40.
sorry.
40. Sean, how old are you?
I'm old.
Okay. DC, how old are you?
39.
Okay. Kamala's younger. Kamala, how old are you?
I'm in that ballpark. That's what you
Right.
were asking.
Okay.
Yep.
Approach, how old are you?
About to be 44.
About to be 44. Does anybody on this panel have kids that are as old as Zybex or older?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Zybex, are you getting what I'm putting down here,
There's
Zybex?
literally no
You're
reason
having a
behind this.
conversation with the room full of your fucking parents, bro.
And you still
So
don't know
be
what
Literally
net
no reason
operating
respectful.
behind
losses
it.
So
carry
number
forward
one,
for.
What's your
be
reasoning, man?
respectful. Number one, be respectful. Okay? Be respectful of your elders,
Who wasn't being
Zybex.
respectful? No,
Number
no, I'm
one.
not. We're
Okay,
not
I
being
know that I
respectful
know
of
that these
elders. I'm respectful.
I know that these debate platforms don't allow for your generation to offer our generation the respect that we've earned and deserve as your parents. But you
You're not
should
my
give
parent,
that.
dude.
If
You're
you're
not
an
my.
intelligent young man, you'd be giving that.
You're,
And
you're,
you'd
you're not my
learn.
parent.
You'd be quiet more than you talked. And
You're
you'd
not my
learn.
parent.
You'd let us teach you.
We don't have to be your parent. Your parents should have taught you to respect your elders, and we are absolutely your elders. And the entire point that
I
Adrian is
respect all.
trying to make is that you don't pay your own way. You don't live
That's
on
not
your
true.
own.
That's not
You
true.
have no life experience. You haven't had to work and figure it out. You live on the crutch of a dorm that you're getting a scholarship for, and your parents are probably paying the rest of the way, or you're lying about not having a Pell Grant. It's one or the other.
One
You
or
can
the other,
still go
right?
home to
Nobody
your
goes to college
parents
that
and
doesn't
they're
take the
going
Pell
to
Grant.
help
I've
you.
never
They're
heard of
going
that
to
unless you're wealthy.
coddle you. They're going to do all of these things. We don't have that. We are forced to live in the real world. We are forced to pay these taxes and property taxes and state taxes and all of these other things. And you don't have the slightest clue because our country does not work on teaching children like you financial literacy. You have to have life experience to figure it out. That is the
Okay,
entire
so
point. So you are too inept to actually
are you gonna let me
participate at an intellectual level
gonna
in
ramble?
this conversation. And the fact that you have an impulse compulsion problem where you can't sit there and just sit on mute and listen to people that are more intelligent than you tells us everything that we need to know, which is the entire point.
Hold on.
Right.
Dorms are usually government
Are
subsidized
you just gonna
because the
ramble or actually let
university
me
funding
speak?
comes from the fucking government.
Right. It's
Are you gonna
1,000%.
ramble or let me
He's
speak?
living on our
What's the
tax
point?
money,
What's the
Sean.
point of this live if I can't even speak?
The point is for you to sit there and listen and maybe learn something.
Right.
No, he already lives in government funded housing. That's what dorms are, Zyvac.
Incorrect. That's
Your
incorrect.
university is substantially government funded.
Infamous,
Guarantee it.
may I respond to your chart?
Yes,
Okay,
at
you
least with DC, at least DC's like 39 years old, started a business earlier this year. I can at least give him some weight to his argument. He's arguing from an ideological standpoint. I don't know what you're doing, Zyvex.
So
He's
you're
just
not even
using
Heard
it
what
as a
he
lesson
heard
for
from
Because you
his
have
others.
no
position,
life
that's all.
experience. So because you have no life experience, you really don't
you're gonna throw the
even
whole argument out. You're just gonna throw
understand
my
the
whole argument
implication
out.
of taxes on a family, on a homeowner, on anything, a business owner. You've literally done nothing.
But you're
You're
gonna just throw my
19.
whole argument out because I don't have
Because
life
you don't have
experience.
an
Yes,
argument
Is
that's
what we're
yes,
gonna go
based
off.
in
You're not gonna
reality.
actually
yes.
just
We're
sit here
going
and
off
listen
of
to
your
it,
lack.
and maybe it's a valid
Exactly,
point.
Zyvex.
Maybe
We
my
are
argument's a valid point.
No,
110%
it's
going
I
not.
off of your
say,
lack of life experience to discredit your entirety of even being present in an argumentative
That's
space with grown ass adults.
why
if
don't we
that's
Just
not
take
because
a
if
you're
that's how you
vote?
19
argue
and the
with
law
people.
tells you
No.
you're an adult doesn't mean you have the same thank you. Doesn't
Why
mean
don't we
you have
just
the
take
same. That was stupid. I wouldn't enter. Thank you. Whoever dropped
why
him,
don't
thank you.
That
Or he
was
dropped
me
himself.
because he has
why
Thank
don't we
nothing
you.
just
to
do a
I
contribute
like him.
tax?
to the
Why don't we
conversation
just
other
vote to
than
do a
being
tax?
purely argumentative. There's no point in him being here.
Why don't we just
I
vote
like
to
him,
do a
by the way.
tax on his fucking
Quite
scholarship? We'll just
argumentative.
tax it and divvy it up to whoever we think should have it. We can
Uncle
take a
Dank,
vote.
Uncle Dank in the comments is right. He said entitlement at its best. You're right, Uncle Dank. That was wild. And then the way he was talking over Infamous when she was trying to show that chart was very indicative of what that young generation, how they act. And no, we're not we're not jealous of the youth. We just feel like someone who is 19 years old, who isn't a homeowner, doesn't have children, doesn't have any real skin in the American game, all like that, should not be on these debate platforms debating public policy with grown ass adults that are like in their 40s. This whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. Why would I waste my time debating with one of my children? I got kids
I'll
that
say
age.
this. I'm
Like that's
I'm not
insane to
gonna.
me, MJ.
No, I get it. I'm not gonna fault the kid for his age or anything like that, or lack of experience or any of that. But I think when you come in to a space like this and you try to speak from, you know this, you know this, you know this, and all the evidence is there. And I'm not saying he was wrong. I think he was just looking at it from the wrong point of view. Because I promise you, once you hit that age to where you have a family, you have a home, you have a business, and Uncle Sam's giving you the shaft every year for years and years and years. I promise you, you don't hold that same energy as, oh shit, let me just cut out Uncle Sam a little more money. If they want it, I definitely want to give it to them. That's bullshit.
That's
Nobody
true.
writes the IRS a check and puts a smiley face on it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Do y'all want me to respond to Infamous or no?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, Infamous, what you were showing was the income tax brackets and the results of those brackets from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act on salaries, on people, on earnings. Wealthy people do not make salaries. Like that's not where they find their money. They get it from capital gains. And so they're already in a much lower tax bracket. The tax code is much more than just the brackets. And so, yes, you are correct that every tax bracket got more money in their pocket from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That effect for the lower 50% could have occurred for a much lower tax bill than what we face because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which is
You're
about $2
still
trillion.
saying you want more money from people that's not yours, though. You're still doing it.
Well, this is the claim that it's other people's money, it's not yours. The bottom 50% in the U.S. in 1980 owned 18% of the national income. Today, they own 2.5% of the national income.
Yeah, it's called capitalism. We're a small country, a very young country. And you know what? We have what we call generational wealth. And let me tell you, not all generational wealth was built on the back of slaves. A lot of generational wealth was built off of, wait for it, capitalism. It is a beautiful thing. And
If
we love
you
it.
think that we can continue down the road that we are, where the bottom 50% are getting less and less and less,
Did you know
and now
that
they're at
Elon Musk
2.5%,
just paid
you're going to
more
break the
taxes
system.
than the entire country has paid in American history?
You're going to break the system.
Then, okay, if you believe
Listen,
all this, why wouldn't you support Donald Trump? He wants to take
Hold
taxes
on.
off of Social Security. He wants to stop taxing veterans. He wants to stop taxing um, first
Social Security.
responders.
Tips.
Yeah,
Oh, yep.
there's so many ways that he's
Overtime.
trying to get rid of taxes that aren't going to
100%.
affect the bottom line of the
Hold on.
United States.
DC, what system is going to get broken?
The system by which you have people in the bottom 50% of the U.S. economy that can do a
God, what a
job,
Marxist ideology. Go ahead.
that can do their jobs and be there to sweep the floors for, I mean, Adrian said that he's going to be in the top 1% here soon. He's going to need somebody to sweep the floors. He's going to need somebody to be the doorman. He's going to need somebody to
Not
drive the,
necessarily soon.
To be in the
Hope
top
it's sooner
1%, you
rather
only
than
got to make
later.
120K a year, dude.
Hey, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. DC, listen, if Marx was alive today, if let's just say Karl Marx was alive today, he'd be like, wait a second, if you pay them fair wages and they can survive and put food on their on their kids' tables, they're not going to rise up? What?
Infamous.
so are you trying to
Can-
get a rise up from the bottom?
Infamous, can you do us a favor real quick, sweetheart? Can you look at income distribution in brackets in terms of percentage? Like, there's a curve out there that
That's on,
shows,
that's
like,
on the Federal Reserve website.
brackets versus like how many people are
Do
in
you,
that
do
bracket.
you
So
have
it
it,
shows a
MJ,
percentage. 'Cause
or can you send it to me?
I
and
think
I'll
DC
share
has
it?
a
Around
complete
outside.
misunderstanding of what the 1% is, and it's not as wealthy as he believes it to be.
I think it
Well, I
starts
mean,
at like
what I
400K,
just
doesn't it?
pulled up
That's
is
not even
from the
400K,
Tax
dude.
Foundation, and according to this, 50 the bottom 50% of taxpayers paid 3%.
Yeah, that's what their
into
tax
the
bill,
tax
that's their,
foundation.
No,
that's
I want
not
to
what I
look
was
up.
quoting.
I want to look up wages versus population groups. So, like, if we look at a distribution curve of wages, like a bell curve, there's going to be banding in that bell curve of like 50K or 75K or 120K or 400K, and the distribution tail of those income bandings, and they're pretty arbitrary because people like to do this kind of bullshit to engage in classist Marxist ideology. But that 1% DC is not nearly as big as you think it is. The average median wage, not household income, and I've noticed in the last 4 years that the leftists and the federal government have moved from median wage to household income. The average median wage in the United States is like $36,000 a year. And that means that the average person in the United States is making about $36,000 to $38,000 a year. And that means they're making about $20 an hour. And we can drill a little deeper into that. And what that means is that a substantial percentage of the population is making that, and that's of the 100 million people that are working. That's probably like 70 million fucking people, dude. It's not that, like, when you move over to the next bracket, not household income, when you move to $55,000 a year, that's like the next 20%. Okay, that 1% on that distribution tail you're talking about is an extremely small number of people. And it gets incredibly small once you factor out all the government employees, okay, because the government employees sit very high up in that last 10% of wage distribution on average.
Do you want to know how much the
millionaires
1%
work
owns
for
of
the
national
federal
income
government?
today?
Do you have any fucking idea how many millionaires work for the federal government?
It's
It would
30%.
blow. How much?
30%.
of government employees are millionaires.
No. 30% of the national income is owned by the top 1%. You're saying that
I don't care about that. You're
fathom how
missing. Okay,
infinitesimal
you're
that
We
making an
don't care
1%
argument.
about
is.
that.
I'm
So
saying you
fucking
can't
We
what?
don't
fathom
care
Why?
if they have money. We're not
Why does that
jealous of
matter?
other people's money.
Why does it matter? Why
I
does it
wish
matter?
I had. You know what, Sean? I wish I had. I wish it wasn't the top 1% with 30% of the country's wealth. I wish I, as one person, had 30% of the country's wealth.
Infamous, if you're over there flying on the
I might
Keys,
be a
can you
little
see how
jealous
many
of you,
millionaires
Adrian,
there are in the U.S.
Well, I'm
government
just saying, Approach,
as
that's my
hourly
goal.
employees?
I know.
It's a lot.
You know what I mean? The fuck? This is a capitalist country. You're allowed to be as great as you want to be. This march toward trying to stick your hand in somebody else's fucking cookie jar is why so many of us voted. I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I'm done with them. I'm done with the left. You'll never get my fucking vote back. You people went too far. Then you roll out this wacky turkey neck having broad that's 75% Indian and 25% Irish and tell us all she's black. Get the fuck out of here.
In the
DC, you guys are
1960s and 70s,
DC, you guys are
the highest
losing.
marginal
You're
tax
losing
bracket
on
for an
tax
individual
policy.
was upwards of
You're losing on
85%.
public policy. You're losing on global geopolitical policy. You're losing at every single side of this thing, and you're still not waking up.
Dude,
My
you
guy,
guys are light
I can't
on
wait till we
tax
build the deprogramming
knowledge.
camps for you guys.
You just don't know tax knowledge. You don't have any. You don't.
Dude, I don't care
you know
about your
tax
tax
brackets.
policy. Your tax
That's
brackets
it.
are immoral.
We're
They're arbitrary
perfectly aware
lines.
of your tax knowledge and our own, but we're saying we're not jealous that other people have more than us. We're not
I'm
jealous
not
of that.
jealous that they have more than us.
Listen, can I please just get a word in here? So,
So,
look,
Sean, I'm not able to find anything new. I found there's an article I found from
Uncle
April
Tank, what's up,
23rd,
man?
2020, that says over 50% of those in Congress are millionaires. As of 2020, the wealthiest one was Rick Scott.
There are a crazy,
360
crazy,
million,
crazy
but yeah,
number
it's
of
over.
government millionaires.
I got
Like
a
a surprising
question.
number of government employees are millionaires.
If you and your
Um,
spouse work in the government, you will be a millionaire by the time you retire, unless you're just
hang
like
on,
terrible with money.
DC. One second, because I think Approach brought up a good point, and I want to ask you this question, just so that I understand exactly where your stance is. Is your stance that the top 1% and this ultra wealthy class should pay more because you feel like they should be where you're at, or do you feel like everybody should be where you're at? Are you,
I don't think
are you,
there's going to be wealth distribution in the U.S. That's a known fact. There has to be.
okay, so what do you want? What do you
have to?
Okay, my
Well, let
question
me
is,
ask
what do
you a
you want
question.
though? I mean, do you
What is
want
the
everybody to be on the same playing field, or
no? I mean, well, when you say playing field, I assume what you mean
okay?
is that they all have the same amount of money or something like that. That's not what I'm asking for.
Do you want everybody to be in the same class?
How low do you think you can
I
go
mean,
with the percentage of the bottom 50% owning before it just like totally breaks the system?
See,
How low?
here you go again with the broken system again, as if you think that the poor class is going to rise up and take out the upper class.
I mean,
Like
we
that's
literally
what
just
I
saw
said.
that like a week ago.
That's when I said to you
What?
that Marx. Yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah, that's
You
when I
know
told
what? That
you
was
that
a
if
horrible
Marx
thing to
was
say,
still
dude.
alive today, he would not feel this way. He wouldn't see that because he's wrong. Marx was lazy.
yes.
And he wanted to sit home and write theory all day, and that's why he came up with what he came up with.
Marx
He was
was
a shitty writer,
intellectually
too.
lazy too, by the way.
Yes,
I
I'm not
still
espousing
just don't
Marxism.
understand the gist of the
you
argument.
are
I
espousing
just don't
Marxism.
get it.
See, that's the whole problem. You can't see the fact that you're Marxist.
I'm
You are
espousing that
blind to it.
the workers own the means, and that is coupled
That's
with
not what
a
Marxism
classless,
is.
moneyless society.
No, you've not read Marx. Marx wanted the communal ownership, and I'm using the word communal for a reason, of property and capital and labor. They wanted communal ownership of the labor and capital. And the reason Marx wanted that was so that he could sit at the top of this communal hierarchy and get all the benefit. All of Marxism is a justification of a lazy piece of shit who couldn't manage his own fucking money or work a job to receive shit from other people. And he sold an entire philosophy based on this nonsense. and it's derivative work from someone else anyway, which is even more ridiculous. It's
Socialism.
communal ownership of capital and labor, which makes everyone in the community a fucking slave.
In this room,
by
I
the
just
way.
want to. I just want to get some words in, and I'll leave the room.
Go ahead, man. No, I'm going to let you go. Go ahead.
Like DC, listen. A few minutes ago, you asked if we want to continue down this road. The question is, do you want to continue down this road? Because we clearly voted to not continue going down the road. Now we've been paying federal income taxes, say introduced in 1913. Okay, all right. How is that going for us? Obviously, how is it going for us? It's pretty clear that it's not working too well. Our deficit is climbing and climbing and climbing. We got tons and tons of wasted government money and all this stuff. Now, if we cannot try something different, then we're never going to learn from our mistakes. This government needs to try something different. Are we willing to give somebody a shot? Yes. Why don't we just give him the respect he deserves and give it a shot? Nobody's asking you. You're going to make more money in the long run not paying federal income taxes and relying on our government to run on tariffs. Okay? Think about how much money you're not going to have to pay if you're not paying federal income taxes. Granted, you only pay items that you buy from outside of our country because there's tariffs on them. So buy inside the country. Yeah, at first it's going to be a little bit higher until we get all of our construction up and our infrastructure for a lot of these manufacturers to be happening so it's cheaper in our country. That's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you don't give somebody a chance, it's never, ever going to change. Never.
So if tariffs are both going to raise revenue and onshore manufacturing that has gone abroad, when they get back here, where are we going to be collecting tariffs from?
It's to be cheaper, dude. Tariffs aren't forever, silly.
They become lower and lower. They get lower and lower. So then it's going to help the world over a period of time. Eventually, it's going to help the entire world.
Where does the revenue come from when the tariffs get lower and lower and
more jobs?
Thanks, Latasha.
You're increasing your tax base.
DC, what if, and here's a novel idea, we stop putting the individual responsibility on the community so we can get rid of a lot of the government? Like, outside of roads and protection of the national borders, really shouldn't have that much government. And yet we seem to have a hell of a lot of government doing a lot of stuff it probably really shouldn't be doing. Things that were already sorted out in property rights years ago. I mean, I don't think it's moral or just to steal from my neighbors to give to someone that I would prefer have what my neighbors had before I took it by force. It's just not moral. And I don't care if people argue about taxation all day. Taxation is immoral. And arguing for an immoral thing, even if you feel justified or righteous in it, is still fucking immoral. It's like fucking your neighbor's wife. It's just not a moral thing to do. Might be legal, but it's not moral.
You keep making this argument at me.
You want to
You think it's fair? Like,
Argument at me, but because I'm taking a position on tax code, whereas like everybody on the panel has taken a position on tax code, and you haven't made this argument about eating their chicken. I don't get it.
Okay, because what you don't understand is you're justifying with the tax code argument about the theft. You're arguing over how much theft. And I'm saying the theft is fundamentally fucking wrong.
So you guys are arguing
I buy fuel every day. When I go tomorrow, when I fuel up my diesel Mercedes, okay, and I put $100 worth of fucking diesel fuel in it. Do you know how much tax I'm going to pay when I fill that tank? Because I can tell you. It's going to be about $30 fucking dollars. It's going to be $30 fucking dollars in taxes that I'm going to pay for the privilege of buying American oil refined in America that's going to go to pay for the roads, and it's going to go to pay to fund government programs. That's just tomorrow morning when I go to fill it up.
So why are you arguing for a tax code at all?
I'm arguing against the tax code altogether. I think we should go back to usury taxes. That's how we funded the government in the past. And secondly, we should do everything we can to treat government like an overgrown fucking weed of Karens who are just feeling entitled to other people's stuff. You're making a communal argument. This is what I'm trying to get to you. You don't see it because you're so in it. You want to argue about the details of implementation, and I'm saying it's fundamentally wrong to steal from your neighbors to give it to someone else. That is the core tenet of communism. We're all going to vote to eat the other guy's fucking chicken. That's a democratic Marxist country.
Yeah,
You're arguing a democratic Marxist ideal, and it's not okay. It's immoral. And eventually, guys like me who are very capable
back, buddy.
are just going to start body slamming motherfuckers like you in the middle of the street. And I might be an old man, but believe me when I say this, I can power hand most of these fucking kids these days. They're pretty fucking soft.
Dark, give me a drop, and Sean, give me a follow, buddy, because I just love listening.
Do you know what
to you.
usury is? You want a usury tax. Do you know what that is?
Oh my god. All right. Good night, guys.
To me, a usury tax is like,
See you later, bro.
like what's our number one health issues? What's
care,
the
man.
number
Hit me
one
up,
cause
man.
of our health issues in this country? Is junk food, fast food, cigarettes, alcohol.
You know what usury
all that.
is?
Raise the prices on that stuff to cover the health insurance issues. Like fuel should cover roads and bridges and taxes on fuels and stuff.
Really?
To me,
Because
that's what
Sean just told me he's upset about the $30
You guys
he's
leave my
gonna spend on
report
taxes when he fills his tank.
$100 alone.
I said federal income tax. Federal income tax. Is there a difference between federal income tax and sales tax? Like seriously, think about that. Usury tax to me is a sales tax.
Usury is charging illegal amounts of interest on a loan. I don't know what you mean by a usury tax.
A usury tax to me, I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, would be like something like fuel. Like you're purchasing fuel to cover your costs for roadway systems. The taxes that are on your fuel would be going towards like your roadway systems.
I'm guessing some of us just learned what usury means, but like I don't know what that tax is. But
There are multiple definitions for usury. It can be used in many ways, but that's not the point. The point is we can fund the roads with fuel tax, and in fact, we pay a surplus of fuel tax every year to fund our roads.
Right.
But yet that tax gets diverted into the general fund.
Just to let everybody know, the
bullshit.
live is going to be going down in about 5 minutes. Just to let everybody know, about 5 more.
that's fine. I'm gonna hop anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna. The host has to get some sleep, dude. It's like fucking like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know
Host, you
what
wanna
time
let
it
me
is.
down?
Where he's
Or I
at.
can help.
So usury taxes are excessive taxes. They're not necessarily illegal, but I think
No,
what
I
you
didn't
guys
say
are
usury
talking
taxes
about
are illegal.
exercise-
Usury is an illegal interest rate.
They're excessive taxes. It may or may not be illegal.
Called a use
Like,
tax.
they
Number
were
one.
they were done and then they were made illegal.
It's called a use tax.
But really quickly,
That's a
like
new
I think
term
what
to
you're
me. I've
talking
never heard
about
of
are
it.
excise
I think that's
taxes.
what they're referring to.
They're talking about excise taxes, which is related to the fuel, and the other taxes that you were talking about are sin taxes, which is related to things that are detrimental to people or the society in general.
Right.
But right now, I think it's crazy that we operate the way we do with income taxes because it is generally unfair. But we're generating this huge amount of like debt for the country. Heck, we're even doing $2 trillion in deficit spending each.
Taxes
budget.
are voluntary.
Why is sales tax or tariffs not theft? If income tax is theft,
It is.
Okay, but
income tax.
then how
income
come
tax
sales
is
tax
like-
isn't theft?
Because
They're
you're
hitting us in
not
the front
forced to.
door
You're
and the
not
back
forced to
door.
buy something.
What?
They're getting us
You're
in the
not
front
forced
and the
to buy
back.
something.
I think Adrian is answering the question, but I can't hear what he's saying.
Oh, I said
sorry.
because you're not forced to buy something.
Oh, so there's a voluntary component to the tax.
Right.
So just like with income
Whereas
tax, there's a
income
voluntary
taxes are
component.
totally 100% involuntary.
No, there's a voluntary component. You have to. If you don't want to participate, you don't have to participate. If you don't want to
No,
buy
no,
food,
no,
you
no,
don't
no,
buy
no,
food.
no, 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 no. You're not understanding.
Please
in a
explain.
capitalist system, you have to work in order to earn money.
Well, you could say that you have to buy gas in order to earn money.
Where the involuntary nature of it comes in is they put you in a capitalist system where you have to work to earn money to provide for yourself and your family, but they involuntarily take a portion of what you make. Sean spent a whole long time trying to explain this to you.
Don, could you go without the gas that you're going to buy
Sean's
tomorrow?
argument. Oh God, I don't understand what you don't understand about Sean's argument. I don't know.
It's all right. I'm going to drop. See you guys.
I'm also going to drop.
Well,
You
it's
guys
been
have a good
fun
night.
having you up here, DC. You definitely kept the numbers up here all night long, so thank you.
So at some point, like I'm totally red pilled, and I hate the way the current tax system works. But at some point, we're probably going to have like a universal basic income in the future, just because like robots and AI and
I
like I
think
think
so too. I
jobs are going
think
to start
that's the.
dwindling.
I kind of think that's the route the country should move, anyways. I think that I think we should move to a flat tax, um, across the board with no tax deductions whatsoever for anything, for anyone. A very oversimplified tax code. They've talked about it. Remember 999, Herman Cain? Remember Ted Cruz with his filling out your income taxes on a postcard? I think it
Carson was talking about that when he ran for president back in 2016, and he got demonized for it.
yeah, but it actually makes sense because
Be
that if you have a
manipulated.
flat tax, it incentivizes growth because then you know the baseline. But with the tax code the way it is now, you just don't even know. And like, you have people working overtime and then there moves them into a different bracket. A totally different bracket. Now every dollar of their taxes is taxed at a different level. Like that's
Right.
insane. That's patently absurd.
You literally don't
I
know
think
who your
instead of a
tax.
UBI, we should just automate the whole government. And then the government's free, and that's a good deal.
Yeah, I like that. I do like that concept.
The government can be fucking free.
Maybe we can just have the robots and the AI run the fucking government for us. They probably do a better job than these numbskulls on Capitol Hill.
My problem with people in government is they're always trying to justify. Okay, so this is what DC didn't understand.
I think he's a
wants to
military.
have
I
an
think
argument.
I think he's a government contractor. I bet you any
Oh,
money that's his job.
You fucking bet he is.
I
So, oh, you know it. He sounds exactly like somebody from Washington D.C. right down to the accent. I used to live there, so I know. So, my point to him is that they're these people fucking don't get that they're not entitled to someone else's stuff, and so they worry about all these ridiculous outside arguments, right? Because nobody wants to get down to the core of saying, yeah, I just want to take my neighbor's shit because he has more stuff than I do. And until people admit that that's their underlying motive, I refuse to engage any further like conversations because that's the core problem. You're saying, well, this guy has more shit than I do, and it's like, okay, so fucking what? You never discount the fact that the guy that's got more shit might be out there fucking lifting rocks 120 hours a fucking week when you're doing it 32 hours a week and getting your toenails done. I mean, that's my big problem. Joe Rogan hit on that one time. He's like, oh, everybody likes to talk about inequality and the wealth gap, but nobody ever talks about the effort gap. And I was like, bang, right there on the head, man. It's the effort gap. Why do low effort people feel like they should be entitled to argue over how much stuff they take from everyone else? It just blows my mind. Like,
well, it's just like you take a guy like Jeff Bezos, right? Here you got a guy.
Can y'all hear me or no?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Can y'all hear me or no? Okay. No, I just wanted to let y'all. I'm a government contractor, okay? But I'm in the Middle East. And when I tell you my checks are taxed to Timbuktu and back, it be making me mad. I'd be like, I could just come back to the fucking States and make the same amount of money that I'm making here. And that shit ain't right.
Right. I agree.
Like before taxes, my check is like $5,300. That's every 2 weeks before taxes. After taxes, Social Security and Medicare, I'm only getting about $3,300 every 2 weeks.
so you're making about $110,000 a year gross.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
everybody.
2%.
Imagine if you were in California.
Welcome to the 2%.
Welcome to the 2%, Sean. Exactly. Now this whole thing, and I'll say this, and host, you got to drop down.
No. I actually just wanted everybody to know Green-Eyed Shadow is also serving our country. Green-Eyed, did you get that care package I sent?
Mail is kind of being a little slow over here right now because everybody is getting stuff in for mail right now. And
for the holidays,
yeah. And we've got mail sitting in the mailroom right now, but our mail guy, he's been swamped, so it could be sitting there right now. I'm not too sure.
Okay, just message
well, hopefully
me.
you get it before Christmas.
Man, I would love to get it before Christmas, but I'm over here doing the Lord.
Well, I started to say, Sean, you take a guy like Jeff Bezos, okay? This is a guy who started a business in his fucking garage, right? Initially sourcing books. Now, I was with Amazon and Jeff in the real early days of that business, that website. Very early days. I owned a business in Erie called the Erie Book Depository. When I sold it, we had 187,000 volumes of literature in our archive or in our business. Now, Jeff started that business out from a fucking garage. And there were a bunch of us that in the early days when it went online were online with him. Okay? He was a regular fucking dude, man. But he grinded and he grinded and he grinded. And today Amazon is a nation state. It's not like a company. It's like a nation state. They were asking Trump the other day in a press conference, yesterday or the day before, about Amazon and about the Postal Service. Because Amazon is more efficient at the delivery of packages. Well, would it be more efficient at the delivery of mail, period? There's a lot of government inefficiency that we deal with in our nation. And it's because the people in a lot of that get in these positions in government a lot of times never had to work out of their garage. The people that worked out of their garage were their grandfathers or great grandfathers, people like that. You got to look at the median income, the median wealth of a person that ascends to Congress, for example, especially as a senator.
Shit, no. Don't worry about
these are people from some of the wealthiest families in our country. And they're running our country into the fucking ground because they don't understand what it takes to actually build something yourself. Well, I'm talking first generation wealth, not second, third removed generational wealth.
Bro, I've been watching it happen. A lot of my family's in the government. I'm well aware.
You know, it's insane, Sean. And like,
I know.
You know, and then we got this shit is so crazy. We got a border that's open. Do you know they're fighting right now to get an injunction to stop the Biden administration from selling 200 miles of border wall material for 5 cents on the dollar?
That actually should be an imprisonable offense.
That should be. I mean, that's almost, to me, that's almost tantamount to treason. That's crazy. How are you going to intentionally sabotage the American people in the sense that you had them buy something to be constructed, the material to construct it, and you know that in a month's time, 1 month, a month and like 3 days or something from today, a new administration is going to come into office and they're going to use that material pretty much immediately. That's not going to take an act of Congress. I don't think that's even going to take an act of Congress. Because if Trump gave the state of Texas the green light, Abbott in Texas would build the fucking wall himself.
There's it's not just that, by the way. They're doing a bunch of stuff like that. They're trying to spend as much money as possible and grabbing it from wherever they can towards illegals in Ukraine. They're trying to go ahead and make it so they're already, like, the Trump administration is already on record saying people are being excessive in remote work. And Biden's passing laws that like make it so they will
executive orders.
Like they won't be able to change the regulations on that.
None of that shit'll stick.
Yeah, it's insane. Like he's totally sabotaging his administration. Crime stats are like right now not reported from the major Democratic strongholds or the crime-ridden strongholds, I should say. And they're going to go ahead and bring those back in as soon as Trump gets into office.
I think the whole thing. Everybody can see it. The Americans are watching it right now. A lot of people are. And the bottom line is, like, I one time listened to a government employee on where the fuck were they? I was watching some TV show and it was some pencil pushing motherfucker from some government agency, probably the Fed or the Treasury. And the guy was like, and this was like 10, 15 years ago. And he was like, and I'm sure he was a Democrat listening to him. And he was like, well, they're jobs that Americans just won't do. And I'm thinking, no, they're just jobs government employees won't do. And I think as soon as we stop employing you motherfuckers, you're all going to find the will to work or you're going to starve. And I'm okay with the government employees starving. They can either work or starve. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of these See, we're this is what I keep telling people on the right, like, man, people in the middle and people that'll listen. Stop having these arguments. No, it's theft. You just want to steal from people because you're fucking lazy, or you want to steal from people so you can feel virtuous. And neither one of those things is virtuous. And I think we just,
they want their fucking AJO moment, Sean.
I know, and we just have to keep calling it what it is, and we have to get really aggressive about it and stop having these arguments about tax codes and
I'll
and
give you
tax
I'll give you an
brackets.
example there. I'll
You
give
know,
you
I
an
mean,
example how
we just need to
craven
start
these
calling them
people
what they are. They're a bunch of fucking thieving bandits, and we just need to start and
And
just
I'll give you an example.
aggressively
I'll give you an
change our
example how
tone.
corrupt these people are. Right?
Yeah.
You take Black Lives Matter. Now I'm black, right? And you take Black Lives Matter. I come from a very proud African American family, in Erie, Pennsylvania, Rust Belt City, okay? A couple years ago, I'm sitting in my office in my dad's study, my parents' house. Both of them are deceased. And I'm sitting in my dad's study and I hear bang, 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 bang. So it's pew pew shots, right? So I come outside and it sounded like it was real close. Well, it wasn't. It was about 6 or 7 blocks away from the house. And 6 or 7 blocks away from my parents' house is a little boy out in front of his house playing with his older brother. A car swings around the corner and opens fire on this whole group of kids.
Jeez.
And unalives a little 7-year-old boy, right? It was the Thursday before Easter. So they kept him, they flew him, life flighted him to the Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, kept him on life support because they came from a real Christian family, right? And this little boy was a black boy, okay? And then on Sunday, they bathed him and wiped him in white cloth, and they let him pass away on Monday so that he didn't pass away on Easter, okay? That little boy was my sister's grandson. She was the one to wrap him in white cloth. Do you know what our family never fucking saw in the city of Erie? We never saw a single Black Lives Matter march. We never saw an activist come out and say, hey, Black Lives Matter and children's lives matter. No, they had a fucking vigil and all the other shit that goes along with it. It made national news. It was the most devastating thing to ever happen to our black family, okay? And I'll tell you what, that was the beginning of the end of me and these motherfuckers. When I tell you I'm a lifelong Democrat, you can type my name right there, Adrian Ewing, into Google. Type Adrian Ewing, Erie, PA into Google. I'm a quick study. You'll see articles, news articles. It's like, today Adrian Ewing says he will not seek the Democratic Party nomination for mayor of Pennsylvania's 3rd largest city. I'm that guy. And I walked away. So what the fuck does that tell you? These people, I'm tired of their virtue signaling, Sean. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm tired of them taking our money, taking our taxes, all of it. I'm sick of it. As a parent, as a homeowner, I'm done. We're done. The jig is up. If somebody like me can vote for Donald John Trump for president of the United States of America for the first time ever in my life, voting for a Republican for president, the jig is up, my guy. It's done.
So,
and they know it's done. So they still come on these apps and they still spew their bullshit because they know their game is over. It's done.
Just to support your
Welcome
your
to
point.
the revolution.
Yeah, I voted Bill Clinton. I voted since the first Bill Clinton nomination all the way to Biden. Actually, I've been voting Democrat presidential nominees, and this last midterm, I registered as a Republican just so I can nominate Trump. And I'm in the same boat. Like, I can't imagine myself voting Democrat again anytime in the near future unless there's like a massive, massive change. Like,
it would
it's
have
not
to be.
a problem
It would have to
just
be.
the economy is bad. They're
it would
attacking
have
our
to
rights.
be. It would have to be cataclysmic change in the Democratic Party policies.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, they are literally like all reality with them is subjective. None of it is objective. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. And like people like DC, and his name is indicative probably of really where he lives at. That's probably why his name is DC. And a lot of them, believe it or not, on here are paid actors to come on here and agitate people to get their lives pulled down. I swear to God to you. They do it to me all the time. My main account has like almost 25,000 people on it. It got pulled down today in the middle of a panel conversation. Our program, our afternoon program called Viewpoints, got pulled down in the middle of Viewpoints in the afternoon. We weren't even talking about anything. I appealed it, appeal not approved. So now I got to send it over to TikTok Legal. Because I want you guys to look at this. You guys are going to stop screwing with me personally. I'm going to tell you that. Otherwise, I'm going to sue you.
Do you have an agency?
I do not have agency. I never went with agency.
There
I
was
never went with agency. I have no reason not to. I'm just trying to find the right agency. Like I hear good things and I hear bad things. I'm not gonna sit there. I mean, like for example, my main account normally for a long time is in like the A1 league. So it's in the top 10% of all creators on TikTok in terms of going live. It makes it, and when it's in A1, it's not right now, but when it's in A1, it makes a lot of money for TikTok and for agency. And I don't want to just give that money to somebody who, when I get taken down, is not going to be able to get me back up.
So I was in a SK Double Dubs live, and Older Millennial was there, and they started talking about this. I just wanted to really quickly share it with you. They're
Yeah.
Older Millennial, who's got like a bunch of accounts that have been removed unnecessarily. He was talking about getting onto SK's agency, which is I think it's called Rockstar or something. And if you have less than 1 million, they'll accept you. But once you get 1 million, they can't. So and SK said that they've helped her out a lot getting her accounts back.
Oh, good, because I'm going to have to look into it. I'm going to look into it this week because I hate what I hate about the way that they do that is, your leagues aren't static. So what league you're in is not static. You have to consistently be on this app, consistently receiving so many likes, so many gifts, so many points, so many all of that. So like I've in my time on here, I think I've received maybe 5 or 6 million diamonds, something like that, in the last 4 months, 4 or 5 months. That's a lot of money.
Have a good night, guys. I'm gonna follow.
Oh, Sean, you're out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to bed. I woke up and then I
All
got
right. You woke up. You woke up and chose violence this evening.
How
I
he should
heard.
spend my money, which really pissed me the fuck off. I will.
Thanks for coming by.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you for coming in, man.
No problem.
Hey, so it's 4 o'clock where I'm at. I was actually getting ready to shut down like 10 plus minutes ago, but you guys had a really good story, so I didn't want to interrupt that. But I do appreciate everybody for coming by, especially the gifters.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for gifting and stuff. Adrian, I would really like it if you came by my lives a lot more often.
I will. I enjoy it. You got a really good room, man. You put up really impressive numbers tonight too, dude.
I appreciate that, man.
You put up really impressive numbers, and I'll tell you what, if you're going to be on here like this and you're going to be doing this, make sure you host a really good discussion the way that you do it, letting the live itself, them talk amongst themselves on the panel, having me and a couple like me, and I noticed because I noticed you made me mod, which was cool, and then because I got to be able to monitor the comments, because the comments will take it down too. You know what I mean? And plus, I got people who follow me around on this app and talk to me, like troll me in the comments because they get mad, because we dog walk them so often and shit. So I get it. I'd be butthurt if I were them too. But yeah, no, I like the way you run the live. One thing that I'll help you to incorporate is just pausing, kind of like for station identification and reaching your goals. I'd love to help you see you move up the line, because I really enjoyed the live tonight. Thank you.
I appreciate that very much.
And Milton, it's good to see you, my guy. I gave you a follow back too.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks for having us up. It was a nice discussion even before I joined.
Dark, every morning, Dark and Milton and anybody in the room, every morning, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I host a morning program called MAGA in the Morning. It's been on since September. It's at one point it was the #1 TikTok live on TikTok every morning. It's called MAGA in the Morning. You can visit our website at www.magainthemorning.com. That's our full merch line. So definitely take a look at magainthemorning.com. You can subscribe to our newsletter and then come and see me. It's at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every morning.
All right, I'll swing by, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'll get you up in a box and get you into debate, especially if you like to debate and stuff like that. It's a very, very good morning program.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. I appreciate you.
If I'm awake that early, I might join you. I'm on Pacific.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's early, but we run from 10 to noon. Then I break for lunch, and then I come back on at 2 p.m. till 5 p.m. for a program called Afternoon Viewpoints or Viewpoints. So you'll see that pop up across there, Afternoon Viewpoints. which is really cool. Today we were talking about everything from these drones over the country to school safety and security to a bunch of different stuff. And then we get people that come up, talk stuff. We kind of dog walk them. It's a lot of fun, man. I have a great co-host, Sky Nova. She has her own side hustle live in the morning. We got a good group of people over there, man. You definitely want to come check it out. And then at nighttime, usually what I do is I come and do this. Like I come try to mod for a couple lives and sit in on a couple panels and just talk shit. You know what I mean? I enjoy it.
Oh yeah, sounds good, man. I'll definitely swing by.
You guys have a great one.
All right,
All right, everybody have a good night, and thank you guys so much.
All right, you too, Chocolate. Bye.
All right, later.